refreshed? Are you good? Are you spry? Are you nimble? Are you?
Is this a trick question?
Are you sharp? Are you clear? Are you ready to go? We took a brief hiatus, but the RageSelect podcast is back.
Like things or something.
What's that?
You are asking if I use the Goop, again, the Gwyneth Paltrow products to refresh myself.
Oh my goodness! Are you using the Goop products? If that's the case, I'm canceling this entire podcast. We're just going to spend 2.5 hours talking about Gwyneth Paltrow.
Those eggs are very expensive, Jeff. I'm just saying.
Those aren't for you, Michael. Welcome back to the RageSelect podcast here on RageSelect. I'm Jeff.
And I'm Mike. And they bring chakra or whatever. I don't remember.
Yes.
I don't even remember what the fucking description was.
Yes.
I heard they're going out of business, apparently.
Oh, Goop?
Because just they're too expensive.
Well, I mean, yeah, man. Nobody's got time for your fucking hair scented candle. What there was that thing where
it's a vagina scented candle, if I remember correctly.
The candles were just spontaneously exploding or something.
Oh,
it was 3 years ago.
I didn't remember hearing about that.
Turns out Gwyneth Paltrow just makes exploding fucking candles for no reason.
A lot of insane shit was going on during that time.
Yeah, but we are not here to talk. Man, that would have been so cool if this was 2 weeks ago when I had the substance to talk about. I could have segued right from Goop into the substance.
Oh, we could have. Yeah.
But no. No. We took a break last week because everybody wasn't feeling it, and that's all I'll say. But we're back, and we got a whole shitload of gaming news. Actually, we have less than I thought. Actually, we probably have more than I thought. Actually, I'm not really sure how much gaming news we have.
I didn't pay attention to it myself, to be honest.
But yeah, so we're gonna go through it all. But before we do that, let's see. There were no movies for me to watch. Everything there were movies, but I wasn't really interested in any of them. So Michael,
are you gonna watch Red One?
Oh God, no! Why?
So you can talk about it.
Why would I do that to myself? Look, I'm the guy who actually watched Hubie Halloween. Okay,
I might watch it. I don't know.
I put in my penance. No, I actually ended up plowing through Arcane last week.
The second season happened, right?
The second season is currently happening. They're putting out 2 episodes a week. So, and I thought I finally will get into this, and then I can watch the first season, and then I can go to the second season. And it was like, Netflix, you stupid sons of bitches, this is the one show that you're releasing on a week by week basis and not just dumping the entire thing out there onto the internet when I needed you to the most.
It's very strange because they finally learned that if you do that keeps the conversation going again.
Yeah,
but they do it at random.
Yes. Yeah,
it doesn't make any sense to me.
Anyway, hey, let's flash back to, what was it like? Was it 2020? Was it 4 years ago when
Something
Arcane came out? Yeah. Hey, Michael, that Arcane show is pretty good.
I heard good things. Heard very good things.
For anybody who doesn't know, Arcane is a show about the characters from the League of Legends universe. And it starts off pretty. The thing is that it has a pretty slow first couple episodes.
It's a prequel or something, right?
Yeah, a lot of it is origins of the characters, and so the first couple episodes is a lot of here are these two characters when they're kids, and this guy's also a kid, and here's another kid, and then after I think it's 2 episodes, it might be 3, they finally flash forward, and at that point the show really does get going. And while I think that they probably spent a little too much time being don't you want to see all the League of Legends babies? I was like, no, I do not. No, thank you. I don't want to.
League of Legend babies.
Yeah. It's got a really cool art style. It's got a really nifty, this kind of painterly 3D thing, but it's got a lot of 2D animation. It reminds me a lot of Spider-Verse. And then...
Yeah, I remember that was the thing. Every time I saw anything about it, it had that very Spider-Verse-y unique animation look, which is one of the reasons people liked it as much as they did.
Yeah. And I'm really glad that I waited because season 1 ends on a kind of a hell of a cliffhanger.
Oh, it does?
Yeah. And I'm glad I didn't have to sit around for 4 years waiting for season 2 to start.
That's the frustrating. Man, it would have sucked if they didn't renew it.
Let's see. But no, it's really good. It's really solid. I think it's because they're just using MOBA characters.
Yeah.
They didn't
already
have
something to work off of. Yeah.
Yeah. They didn't have a big Okay, I don't care. They didn't have like all this characterization to work on because they just had these little characters with like barks and stuff. So they were able to kind of, I think, like make up backstories for people. Because I played one of the characters in the show. I played one of those spin-off games that they made.
Oh yeah,
and I think that the backstory was completely different for the Echo character in the Metroidvania that they put out as opposed to the show. So. But no, it's really solid writing. It's like really solid writing. There's a lot of good, like, they don't spend too much time like fucking around. You get to know kind of everybody and what they've got, very broad stroke like motivations. So you don't have to watch 3 seasons in order to get into it or whatever. And it really is a pleasure to look at, especially after they do the time jump, because there's like a plot point about this specific technology, magic, yada, yada, yada. Where everything gets a lot more like bright neon, like as into the third, like after the third episode. But no, it's really solid. And if you skipped on it, I think it's a good time to catch up because after you get through that intro part, there really is a lot of really good action to it. And it's a real pleasure to watch. Like, it's real easy to watch. Like, I've never been watching it and been like, man, I don't know about this.
No.
So solid animated feature, and yeah, maybe wait for season 2 to be done so that you can watch it all in one go. But
if
you're on the fence, I'm looking to push you. I'm looking to push you off the fence. I'm going to shove you off the fence over to the pool that is Arcane and be like, yeah, probably the most successful of those Riot Games projects that they put out. Even though I feel like they kind of axed the team that was doing all of that stuff. I think it was last year.
I didn't know that.
As part of like the whole everybody's getting fired and the world is a pile of garbage. So
that makes sense.
Yeah. So anyway, Arcane, good. Everybody should watch it. It's very good, and I liked it, and it was good. Michael, what about you? You do anything? You watch anything? Smell anything good last week?
I've just been watching a bunch of random shit, but I guess I just want to bring up that I read Absolute Superman last week because the first issue finally came out.
Okay.
For that, if you guys aren't aware of what the Absolute series, as it's called, it's basically DC's attempt at doing their own kind of ultimate universe.
Okay.
With
I thought it was the New
DC
52.
No, but instead, well, that's what makes it different because it's a different thing from the separate. Because the New 52 replaced the original timeline originally.
Okay.
And then, they reverted it back. Whereas this is like, okay, this is separate from the normal one, so we don't have to have people being like, but the canon.
Right.
Like, you don't have to worry about that anymore, about trying to figure out what the canon... Because that was the problem with the New 52, is the New 52 wanted to have its cake and eat it, too.
Yeah.
It wanted to be like, hey, everybody's reverted, but Batman still has, like, 6 Robins in 5 years.
Right.
It's like, that doesn't make any sense. Like, don't worry about it. One of them died at one point, and now he's back. And it's like, again, that doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
And that was the problem with it. And then where this is like, there's not, like, everything... Nothing is canon from prior. It's all clean slate.
Okay.
We can do whatever the fuck we want.
Cool.
So, like, the Absolute Batman 1 and 2 are already out. With that one, Batman is a gigantic man. Like, the guy's just buff as shit.
Okay.
He's in his early 20s. He's an engineer. And he's just, like, fucking beating the shit out of people.
He's a unit.
Yeah, he's an absolute unit. There's even, like, a gag in the beginning comic where there's this guy, like, having, like, an internal monologue in his head.
Oh.
And it cuts to him being, like an even bigger man walking up to him. And he goes, oh, Bruce, I'm sorry. I didn't see you there.
Oh,
and so he's, like, fucking gigantic. He's, like, twice the size of any normal human being kind of thing.
This is the guy with the bat symbol that's just a square.
Yeah.
And it's got tiny little points. It's like he stretched out the bat symbol so hard with his amazingly gargantuan pecs that you can't even see it's a bat anymore. He just looks like Square Man.
Exactly. And then it turns out it's an axe.
It's an axe?
Because
is that what's happening here? Is he holding it?
He pulls out a handle. He pulls out a handle and he sticks it onto it and it becomes an axe.
Why does he store it on his chest? That's the worst place to store an axe.
It's an insane idea.
That's so stupid.
And
I love it.
In that universe, like, yeah, he's friends with the people that would normally be his, like, supervillain kind of thing.
Okay.
But in this world, like, the reason the world's kind of weird is because it's a world full of Darkseid energy, technically.
Okay.
Because Darkseid, like, figured out a way of making his own universe, and this is what this universe is.
Okay.
And so, so all the, like, everything is stacked against everybody. And so every hero is different than the way they normally would be. So Batman, he's not super rich, but he still has his mom but he's also like an engineer by trade. But he's also fucking like the size of Bane with Venom without needing the idea of Venom.
He looks like he's had really bad pec implants.
Yeah, he's fucking massive.
He's got really bad pec implants.
And then on Wonder Woman's side, Wonder Woman is
I gotta see
all the Amazons have been banished. And Wonder Woman is raised in hell.
Okay.
By Cersei.
Okay.
And she has a gigantic like Buster sword.
She's got a cloud sword. Dude, wait. I'm sorry. Did you say absolute or edgelord? All this is the edgiest of edgelords.
It's a little bit of both.
Like, I'm sorry. Is it 1995? Am I 17 again?
Basically.
What's happening here?
And so she's riding an undead Pegasus.
Sure.
And she's she at one point she leaves Hades so she can like fight the demons that were in Hades that are going to attack the Earth.
She's got some sick tattoos on her arm.
And so she's the last of the Amazons because the other Amazons are like banished somewhere.
Sure.
So you don't see any. So you don't see anybody anymore. And it's really cool. Like hers is one of the more interesting ones.
Okay, what about Superman?
And then the absolute Superman universe.
I want to hear how dumb this gets.
in Krypton, Krypton's very similar still, except that the difference is that the science people are the ruling class, and everybody who is like the dumb janitor people have the S's to show that they're the dumb people, basically, and they're not really like that, basically. So his parents like had defied the science council, but they were very smart. And then,
so the Superman is a dumb janitor.
No, what happens?
He wears
is
the symbol of a dumb janitor. On my planet, this means dumb janitor.
Basically, and at one point, it cuts back and forth between like the origin of his parents to the origin of him, or not the origin of him. It cuts back to like him on Earth. He's in like Brazil, and he's like pretending to be like a mine worker.
Okay,
and he does some stuff that helps the locals, and then it causes the company that is like there to be suspicious.
Yeah.
So they find him and they attack him, and then the comic reveals at the end of the issue, because you don't see Krypton's explosion yet, but it reveals at the end of the issue he was like already like 10 or something before one Krypton exploded.
Okay.
So that means he landed on Earth like probably way later on, but there are no Kents.
Okay.
There's no Fortress of Solitude.
Sure.
His suit talks to him.
Oh, good. He's got a really terrible haircut.
Lois
He's got
Lane,
an edgy as shit haircut.
Lois Lane is like a military person who arrests him at the very end of the issue.
Okay.
He doesn't have a cape at the moment, but the only thing that that Jason Aaron hinted at about the cape, he's like, the cape is... Okay, this is the edgelord part. Is kind of like may or may not be like the dust of his home world formed into a cape.
Like the souls of Krypton are a red cape now,
basically. But it's just like the dust of Krypton. That's why it looks kind of weird on the edges of it.
This is the dust of my home world. But I'm really enjoying it. Sounds like a Frank Miller fever dream.
I'm really enjoying it though, because but the idea is that like it's a world where Hope is the underdog, and so they have to be like as hard as they can to like make Hope like shine in this fucked up world. So,
well, so you're telling me that this this incredibly laughable thing that you've just described to me is actually not that bad?
Oh, it's amazing.
Okay,
I love it. It's that thing where people were like, Man of Steel that had an edgelord Superman that you should like. I'm like, nah, I don't like that guy.
Yeah.
But Absolute Superman's like, what about this guy? Well, I like this guy though. He seems pretty cool.
All right. I mean, I'm all in favor of I'm very torn, because on the one hand, I'm all in favor of like dicking around with superheroes. We've just gone through, like with the MCU, we've gone through like 10 years of very like, why don't you just make Iron Man like he is in the comics? And they were like, okay, we'll finally do that. And it's like, okay, well, this is pretty fun. And now I'm like, yeah, okay, now I could use Invincible. I could use The Boys. I could use a fucking Batman with a halberd taped to his chest for some stupid ass reason. Like, sure, man, do whatever. Like, I actually think that they should do whatever in the comics, because I'm just hoping and praying and wishing and dreaming that fucking James Gunn's Superman comes out the way that it is in my head, which is just like some Superman-ass Superman without having to shoot fucking Jimmy Olsen in the face for no reason.
Yeah.
I'm not going down this road again.
We're not going down that road. But I highly recommend getting these comics when you get a chance.
Okay.
For anybody who hasn't read them. Like I said, look up, to show you how fucking edgelord this comic is before we finish, look up the Batmobile for Absolute Batman that just showed up.
Like Absolute, I'm going to type in Absolute. I always have to do this, and I have one hand. Batmobile. I think I might know what this is. The absolute Batmobile. Yeah. No, I saw this. Yeah, I saw this. It's like one of the it's like one of those incredibly large dump trucks. Yeah. But with bat symbols all over it.
I love it. And Scott Snyder has been like trolling people online when people are just like, this will be absolute Robin. It's just a gigantically buff Robin. And he's like, it needs to be bigger.
Oh God, this is so dumb.
It's really dumb, but everybody's really liking it, so I'm very happy with it so far.
Hey, you know what? It's so dumb, but over the years, I am familiar enough with comic books that I'm like, this is no less stupid than a bunch of comics that I was really into over time.
100%. So it's just come back around.
Yeah. We're back in the dark '90s edgelord comic book characters.
Not as many pouches yet, but we're waiting for that.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Man, Rob Liefeld should totally draw that absolute Batman. I bet he would have a great time.
He might
doing that.
But yeah, they've already announced more, so there's going to be a Flash one. Yeah, we don't know all of the ones they're going to put out eventually, though.
All right. Well, we'll check back in with our absolute correspondent here as time goes on. But for now, let's jump into the news. We have two quote unquote we have two presentations that happened last week, and we're not going to one of them is weird and kind of nothing, and the other one is like a deep dive into games that I don't give two shits about.
Oh, okay.
So, but we're going to start with Nintendo put out a new Nintendo Direct. Michael, it's a new Nintendo Direct. What is it about? It's about Super Nintendo World,
which is such an interesting thing to do.
Yeah,
because it's not even the one that's because they know, as far as I know, they haven't built the one here in America yet, right?
I think it's supposed to open next year.
So I think it's interesting that we're like, hey, world, look at this shit you can't do.
Yep.
Like how awesome this is and all these fucking desserts. It's like, fuck you guys.
Yeah. I mean, this was apparently announced 2 years ago. They started construction on this.
I do remember them starting construction on it, but I completely forgot about it entirely.
So they added a whole big chunk to Super Nintendo World, and it's Donkey Kong themed. So yeah, they've got the regular one, and now you can go over to basically Donkey Kong Country. And over there, here's the thing. I'm under no impression. When you go to Disney World, when you go to Six Flags, no, I haven't been to Six Flags. Last time I went to Disney World, right? Disney World is there's a ride every 3 steps. There's a fucking something to do. These seem a little bit more sparse. These seem more like what you get at Universal, which is there's 4 things to do.
It's a little area it's more like the area itself that you're looking at.
Yeah. And so this isn't like a Titanic thing. I'll just say right now, there's one ride. And it's a Donkey Kong minecart ride
which makes sense.
Apparently it looks like you shoot out of a thing, and there's all kinds of stuff. They show off this one thing where there's giant bongo drums, giant congas in there, and there's these lights that are flashing, and then you and 2 other people can go up and you can do the pattern on the lights, and then the rhino from Donkey Kong Country pops out at the end if you do it right.
Yeah, it's adorable.
Yeah. There's that. There's the
letters.
They've got the letters that you can scan to spell out Kong with the little wristband thing. They've got this snack bar that has 2 things in it. The Jungle Beat Shakes. It's got this huge banana split in a mug.
Like a barrel mug, yeah.
And then there's also a hot dog that appears to have Doritos, and he says in the thing guacamole, which I assume is what this white stuff at the top. I've never seen. I don't know what those are.
It's Japanese guacamole.
The avocado sauce goes well with it.
That makes more sense.
And it's like a giant hot dog. It actually looks like I want to eat that giant hot dog, even though I'm sure it costs $40. But
the funniest thing is they're yeah, he loves bananas, but they're so you got a banana shake or a banana split or nothing, something? No,
nope.
There's no bananas in any of these things. So I'm oh.
Well, wait, wasn't the first one? This is a banana flavored delicacy.
Yeah, but you think there's going to be a banana split or something? Is
the
what
Crush
I'm saying.
Sundae.
There's no actual bananas in anything. Which is
it might be pureed bananas.
It's just weird, yeah.
But yes, you would think there would be more banana flavored things in Donkey Kong Country. But I guess listen, if you're a parent and you're over in fucking Donkey Kong Land with your kids and they're screaming and running, well, this is Japan. So if your kids are nicely and quietly waiting in line, which is what I assume it's like in Japan.
Yes, let's go with that.
And you're I want something to eat, but I don't like bananas. I would like real food. And they'd be like, okay, well, here's a hot dog with Doritos on top of it and some kind of avocado sauce. And like, ooh, delicious. Give me one of those.
I'll take one of those, mother. I love that the bread has this like design burned into it.
It's got this kind of like Mayan, Incan, like thing on the side of it. So, yep. There's also Donkey Kong's Treehouse. There's somebody in the largest mascot costume I've ever seen.
It's fucking massive.
This Donkey Kong is like huge. Like he's towers.
Like absolute Batman.
He towers over Miyamoto in this clip. Like Miyamoto comes up to his neck.
He also can't move his arms. Like clearly he can't really move his arms very well.
Yeah.
Like that guy is having some trouble.
Yeah. Like he obviously can't hear. Like his head is somewhere around mouth level. Yeah. Like there's some difficulty with this, but you know, you could go take a picture with a giant Donkey Kong, and I have to appreciate I appreciate the commitment to the bit.
Oh, I do, yeah.
Like if there's just a regular sized Donkey Kong walking around, we'd all be like, oh, that's a small Donkey Kong. But this guy can barely walk or see straight or do anything or raise his arms, and I'm like, good.
Yeah, they did it just enough for him to pound his chest, and that's about it.
Yeah,
he can't he can't wave kind of thing. So it's fascinating.
But there's a merch shop with a bunch of Donkey Kong. They showed like the little dolls, and they look terrible to me.
Oh yeah, no, that Donkey Kong is dumb.
They look like what you would win at like the fair.
Oh,
they're like the Minions. It's like a Munyon with the dreadlocks from the county fair.
Like you could buy a better doll on eBay than what that looks like.
Like this is Nintendo. Donkey Kong's supposed to have the black behind his eye flap. Like
when you look at his face, it just looks really off.
Yep.
Because his eyes are too low.
Yep.
Compared to the top. And the mouth is like weirdly shaped. I don't know. It's hard to really say when put into words that way.
Also, I'm not entirely sure what Diddy Kong's deal is because I'm not a Donkey Kong Country guy. But does he always have stars on his nips?
Yeah, he
does.
He
have nip stars?
Yeah, he's got nip stars.
Okay, all right, fair enough.
It doesn't make it any less weird.
So yeah, there's all kinds of merch, all kinds of donkey merch you can get, and then there's a giant giant banana. Like Incan temple thing.
That's definitely more of like the movie's influence, I feel.
Yeah.
Because I know the games had something like somewhat like that, but it was never that prominent.
And they show some of the stuff on the wall, like they've got, I love this one where it's like it's kind of an Incan like representation of Donkey Kong, of the game Donkey Kong.
Yeah, which is great. I love that.
And there's like some animatronic Cranky Kongs.
I do love animatronic Cranky Kong.
Even though I'm a little disappointed because have you seen like what those next gen animatronics that Disney is making look like?
Oh yeah,
those things are fucking crazy.
Those things are crazy, but like they don't have Disney money, Jeff.
Yes,
they have Nintendo money,
true,
which is still a lot of money. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah,
but they can only do so much with that.
Pretty sure that it's just Universal, like. They just approve this shit, and it's just got to be up to the level. They show like a tiny little bit of the roller coaster. Nintendo's been pretty good about not spoiling, like the roller coasters.
They're like, come to Japan and see this stuff. It's like I kind of want to, but I don't have the money for that sort of thing.
So yeah, you enter the giant barrel cannon, and then woo, and then it just fades out. So yeah, I mean, hey. That's the thing I liked the most was at the very end. The whole thing was like the whole tour was given by Miyamoto, and he talks about how Donkey Kong, like that was one of his first things. He made it 40 years ago. It was the first game he worked on, and I was like, man, what a trip would it be if like some shit that you drew when you were in your 20s, you like went somewhere and you were just walking around inside of a fully realized world, like selling merchandise and like hot dogs based on something that you drew 40 years ago.
Well, no, it's surreal no matter how old you are when you made it. Like if, like say for instance, there for some reason Loco Steve took off as a gigantic brand. Yeah. And you walked up to a guy dressed like Loco Steve, you would still be like, what the actual fuck is happening?
Yeah. Or like, yeah, if there was some kind of RageSelect land, like Six Flags is opening up like a RageSelect water adventure.
There's just a dog thing's animatronic in the middle of it, and you're just like
somebody in a gigantic Loretta costume walking around, like taking pictures with people, and it'd be like, what have you all done? So, you know, that's the thing.
Horror.
Is my if somebody took everything that I've made off of RageSelect and then made a theme park out of it, I would go there and be like, what have you done? You madman! You spent so long asking if you could, you never asked if you should.
Oh my god, I kind of wish somebody would do that just to see what would happen.
Call me Miyamoto. So yeah, that's opening the not RageSelect Land, but the Donkey Kong Country is opening December 11th.
Stay tuned for when RageSelect Land opens.
Yeah.
It's just going to be a couple beanbag chairs in Jeff's backyard.
It's just a Taco Bell. Like, it's just an abandoned Taco Bell with like 3 people in it. It's just me and Jason and you hanging out in the foyer of a fucking shut down Taco Bell from 1984.
And the homeless guy it came with.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, but I don't know. That was pretty fun. I was like, ooh, Nintendo Direct. I could talk about that. And then I watched it and I was like, I got like 10 minutes on Nintendo Direct. The other big thing that they did was it's Warcraft's 30th anniversary. And so it's not BlizzCon, but Blizzard did a huge presentation announcing a bunch of stuff that's all Warcraft related, except for one thing that is not Warcraft related, and I don't know why they did it that way.
Okay. So because they canceled BlizzCon enough times, yeah.
Oh yeah. So anyway, they talked. Listen, I'm not gonna be able to talk about some of this shit. Like they're adding the Goblin City to the new expansion of World of Warcraft. World of Warcraft Classic is getting they're getting ready to put out Mist of Pandaria for World of Warcraft Classic, which I listened to fucking Jason Schreier's book, and I'm still like, why do you motherfuckers want to play an old MMO? Like, I just don't understand.
Some people are just addicted to that shit.
Well, I don't understand the idea. Like, I don't like this trend of companies being able to be like, here, do you want version 1.0? I'll sell it to you again for $20. People are like, ooh, shut up and take my money. And I'm like, don't you give them money for that. They owe you that. You bought Warcraft.
People are weird about that shit, man. I don't understand it myself.
And then I'm trying to decide what.
Nostalgia's a hell of a drug.
Let me get the crap out of the way first, Michael. Warcraft Rumble has some kind of dumbass update. That's the mobile one with the little toys.
Oh, okay.
They're doing the thing. But they're also putting it on the PC. So if you want to play Warcraft Rumble, you can play it on the PC. Hearthstone, I just started skipping Hearthstone, but what I can say is that okay, so this is the Warcraft 30th anniversary. Hearthstone is integrating StarCraft commanders into Hearthstone.
It's got craft in the name. It counts.
Sure. So Jim Raynor, Kerrigan, and one of those fucking Protoss guys, they're a bunch of nerds. I don't care about them. Are each going to become commanders, and they're going to have like bonus synergies with cards. Whatever, man.
That's neat, I guess.
Go watch the whole thing if you really care about that. I'm just saying what it is. It's like we cover a Pokemon thing.
At least I understand Pokemon more.
So, but the big thing is that they announced and released Warcraft and Warcraft II remasters. Warcraft 1 and 2 remasters. They came out, and the guy, not just that, but they're also doing a big update for Warcraft 3 Reforged to fix a lot of the graphic stuff.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if they're fixing, like, because one of the problems that people had, I looked and I couldn't really find it, Michael, where they fixed the cutscenes, right? Remember the cutscenes were a problem?
Yeah, that was a huge issue.
In Warcraft 3. And I think that, but actually, now wait, hold on. Now that I think about it, I think that the problem might have been that when they showed off a trailer for it, what they showed was a fully remastered cutscene, and what was in the game was just the original.
There, yeah.
So anyway, they started out and they basically said, like, they kind of had like a mea culpa where they were like, if a thing is broken, we think that you should fix it. And so we did fix Warcraft 3. Like, this is actually the theme for this week is re-released stuff and fixed crap. Yeah. So, but okay, let me get past all this fucking talking about bullshit. This is Warcraft 3. This is Warcraft 3. Okay, wait. So here we go. I think this is where they show it. That's so then they have the actual like trailer. I think this is it. Because I want you to here it is. Okay. So they show the original, right? You know, everybody knows what Warcraft looks like.
Yeah.
And then this is what the remaster like. Oh wait, I gotta get through this part. Okay. So then this is what the remaster looks like.
Okay.
And I think that the remaster looks like trash. Like,
it looks okay.
Everything has a black outline on it now, as opposed to the way that the original ones were just like sprites. And there's not more animation to the characters, so they still have the same like 3-frame attack animation that they had back in the old days. And like I think it looks like trash. I think it looks bad. Like I think it looks like garbage personally. Like I don't know.
I don't have an opinion on it. Not because I have like a reverence for the original one.
Yeah.
It's just that it just like the newer version makes it look like a cheap phone game.
Yeah.
I guess is a better way of putting it.
Yes.
But I don't know. Like I feel like there's a lot more they could have done to make it much more interesting to look at, instead of just almost like phone game level sprites.
Like when I look at the buildings, right? Like you could have drawn a better building.
Like you could have done a lot more detailed stuff.
You could have done more shading. You could have done more like texturing.
Or even go like the Nintendo route where they made, like the way Link's Awakening was remastered.
Yeah.
Like
or they make it look
like
toyetic.
a 3D type thing. Something that really sells like the remasteriness of it.
Yeah.
Instead, this is just like, well, we kind of upscaled it, I guess. Well, and you're like, I guess, but I don't feel that. Like I don't feel anything when it comes to like original versus remastered. It just doesn't have the, oh my god, they did so much work on it feeling. I don't have that feeling when looking at it.
To me, it looks like they did the bare minimum of work.
Yeah.
Like, no, what it seems like is that they outsourced it somewhere and they were like, that's good enough, put it out.
They probably did.
Which is not supposed to be like the ethos that Blizzard operates under.
Well, not only that, but it's the ethos a lot of remasters are doing.
Yeah.
So
I don't know. You guys can tell me in the comments that I'm wrong, but like I really dislike the way that this looks. Like I think it looks worse. I would rather play this. Like the old version is fine to me. I'd rather play this in 16:9, like with modern control upgrades, than have it up-resed into this just like sharpened, almost like AI art looking. Not AIR, that's too much, but it doesn't look very good. I don't know. It just doesn't look very good. And I know it's an old game, but like if you're going to go, they're going to sell this to people for money that they earned with their hands. Like, put some effort in, fuckers.
It bums me out because I would love to be like, oh my God, they did such a good job at making this game look so much newer.
Yeah.
Instead, I'm like, oh my God, this game looks like they made it again in like the early 2000s. like that's all I could think about when looking at it.
Yeah.
Like I don't feel like it's that much different than what they could have done to it. I don't know. It frustrates me because, like you said, Blizzard's original like thing was like, make the best thing, and you're like, this is a thing, I guess. And it's like, cool. It frustrates me. I don't know. It bums me out. It just really bums me out.
No, I get it. And like the other thing is that you could look at like the Age of Empires Definitive Edition, I think looks a lot better. Like,
that's a good example.
Like if you look at the difference between them,
way more going on in that, just this little difference than there was in the other one.
Look how many more frames of animation there are in like the newer versions.
Like everything looks a lot nicer, and the characters are moving better, and they're different. They feel like different models, instead of just an up-resed version of what was there before.
Yeah. So I don't know, like it to me, I think that's I don't know. It just, to me, it reeks of like, well, it's Warcraft's 30th anniversary. You know what it reeks of? It reeks of that we got to like January and they were like, hey, does anybody remember that it's Warcraft's 30th anniversary this year? And they're like, oh fuck.
Actually, another thing it kind of reminds me of? It's the difference between Super Mario Brothers and Super Mario All-Stars.
Okay.
Almost like, and but the reason I say it that way, it's because it's like oh, here's the Nintendo version and here's the Super Nintendo version. Right. That's it. Like it doesn't feel like it was like years later.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. It's just like, okay, cool, I guess.
So yeah, I don't know. I thought that
bums me the fuck out.
I thought it was incredibly disappointing, to be honest. And then a part of this too was they talked about how they've gone back to Warcraft 3 and they've updated some stuff so that it doesn't look quite as trashy. They've up-resed some of the environments. They've given you the option to do specific enhancements, like you can turn on certain enhancements but leave others off.
Yeah.
All of this is fucking necessary considering that they delisted Warcraft 3 and you can't play it on Battle.net anymore.
Which that is the main issue that I've always had with Blizzard's version. When Blizzard's like, here is the new thing, it's like, cool, I can still play the old thing. They're like, sure, and then like literally the second you turn around, they stab you,
right?
And they're just like, fuck you, and then they run off. And you're just like, I spent all this time on this thing, and you just took it. Like, that's what happened with. I know something we're going to talk about later.
Yeah,
but
even this, I'm going to say, if you guys spent because they released the original Warcraft 3 Reforged like 2 or 3 years ago, like it was a while back.
It was like 4 years ago.
And like, okay, so now it looks okay, but like, why didn't you remake these models? Why didn't you remake these models, these 3D models from the ground up? Like, again, it's like the Warcraft thing of like, oh, it's a little better now, but like it was supposed to be way, way better, and you've just waited long enough for most people to forget the promise that you made, and now you're just like, here's competent, and it's like, bitch, I expect more from you. Like, you're supposed to be doing this shit right. Like, you're supposed to be instilling hope within me, not like
they're like, yeah, we're gonna take you to this great restaurant. It's gonna have the greatest food.
Yeah,
you get there and it's just like, why is there a school why are we at a school cafeteria?
Right.
And then like you're still eating there, and then like years later they're like, hey, I came back and I brought some Golden Corral.
Right.
And you're just like, this is better technically.
Yeah.
But I was promised some like Michelin star shit.
Right.
And you're like, I guess this is better. Like, it's just, it's frustrating.
Yeah. Like, I don't know in the era, especially, like, I've been playing a lot, this is a little editorializing here, which is, I know, not what people come to the fucking RageSelect podcast for, God forbid. But, like, I've been playing a bunch of you got a PS5 Pro last week. I got a PS5 Pro. I've been playing a bunch of stuff, just looking at stuff to see how it runs on the PS5 Pro. And I look at this and I'm like, guys, I wouldn't wipe my ass with this anymore. Are you kidding me? Do you know the level of fidelity that we're at when it comes to video games? And you're offering me a slightly like up-res texture on a wireframe from fucking 1998 or something? Like, no, get the hell out of here with that shit.
Yeah, they generally didn't give a shit about like this all screams New Blizzard.
Yeah, because
New Blizzard doesn't give a shit about anything.
Yep,
they haven't cared in a very long time.
Or at least the stuff,
like game-wise, I mean.
The stuff that they're doing, to me, it yells, okay, here's that thing you nerds wanted, now give us money. Like, give us the money for it. And that was the Blizzard thing. The last thing that they did was they announced something new for World of Warcraft, and you'll not believe this, Michael, because I don't think either you or I really keep up with this. Player housing was not a thing in World of Warcraft.
Was it really not?
It was not. And they announced that there's now going to be fucking player housing in World of Warcraft.
It's been a thing in Final Fantasy 14 for a very long time.
I think since launch.
Like they were running out of houses.
Yeah. There's finally going to be player housing in World of Warcraft that you can decorate. You can unlock stuff and do stuff. I also am not entirely, this is one of those things where like, I kind of get why people want that, but like, are you hanging around your house in World of Warcraft? If so, what are you doing? Like, go outside in World of Warcraft. Don't go outside regularly. Outside's dangerous. There's like bugs and sun and other people and shit. But like, if you're going to be playing World of Warcraft, where are you hanging around a house?
They're gonna have their meetings and their guild meetings in there and stuff.
Well, then have a guild hall system.
They'll have digital snacks.
Have an apartment. But yeah, I don't know. This is. I don't have a lot of great things to say, but like that's because I'm not a Warcraft guy.
Oh no, I never cared about Warcraft. So, part of the reason I got turned off of the very idea of Warcraft was when I was in college, my friend had a dorm mate who all he did was play World of Warcraft.
Yeah.
Never left, never did like he did the bare minimum of things to survive.
Yeah.
And he got kicked out of school because all he did was just play World of Warcraft.
Right. I
was like, I would show up and I'm like, has he left the room at all? He's like, no. He's been there. That's all he does. I've never seen him sleep.
I'm
just insane shit like that.
I mean, I played World of Warcraft when it first came out. I was really excited for it, and then like I played it for 3 months, and I was like, and they're done. Like other things kept coming out, and I was like, I'm not going to just play one game for the next 20 years. But then you hear these like they did that thing where they're interviewing people. Okay, this is a little bit of a tangent, but it's similar. So they were doing that thing where they interview people, or they're talking about the game, like the people that play the game.
Yeah.
This husband and wife team, where the wife was telling the story about how her water broke in the middle of a raid, and she told her husband to just wait, like they would finish the raid first and then go to the hospital. And what it reminded me of is, I don't see him anymore, but for a while there were these really fucked up cat food commercials where there was a woman that was holding a cat, and it was for like wet cat food, and then she would like turn to the camera and smile, and like one half of her face was having an incredibly allergic reaction, and it was like, when you love cats so much that you'll get one even though they're fucking making your face puff up. And here I'm like, bitch, turn off the raid and go to the hospital. Like, what are you doing? No.
There's a lot of very famous WoW stories, and the most famous of them, besides, the weird ones, that I mentioned, is the Henry Cavill one.
Yeah.
Where he's like, yeah, they called me to say, hey, you got the part of Superbad, but I was in the middle of a raid, and so I couldn't answer the phone. So he found out through voicemail that he got the part for Superman.
Well, we don't have a whole lot of time left, but let's see if we can power through a few of these, and then we can start the next one without having to talk more about Blizzard. Also, Blizzard has no ideas. So Overwatch now has, for the next 3 weeks, OG Overwatch.
I heard about this from my friends because they were like, hey, for the first time since Overwatch 2 started, there's a queue in Overwatch 2. But that's because people can just play Overwatch 1.
Yep. So this is 6v6 with the original characters, with their original powers, like before anybody else got added.
Yeah.
With they also have no restrictions, which means, like, because the current ones, you literally can't have a team of all Genjis, right?
No, yeah.
Like
there, and you everything was very much like you can only have like 1 or 2 tanks kind of thing.
You can only have 1 tank in the current meta.
Yeah.
But now you can have 2 tanks, and you can have or you could have a whole team full of Torbjorns. They showed in the trailer. I'm just like, congratulations, you guys. You've managed to unfuck. Like, does this not tell you something? Does this
really
not tell
doesn't.
you something?
All you've done is you're like, we figured out what people want. They just want Overwatch 1.
Yes.
And it turns out, no, that was exactly all people wanted from it.
That's what they wanted. You fucked around with it so hard that nobody wants it anymore, and so you have to go back to the way that it used to be.
But the worst part is this is a limited time thing.
Yeah. Yes, 3 weeks.
3 weeks.
Yep.
That's all you get.
What a bunch of horse shit, man. If people want old ass Overwatch, then give them old ass Overwatch. I tell you what, there is a they don't even have their own fucking ideas, right? Like, one of the news stories, I'm going to cannibalize one of my later news stories. Fortnite has brought back the OG Fortnite, the launch Fortnite, season 1, 1.0 Fortnite permanently. Right?
Yeah.
Like, they did that. They did this like a year ago, and it was wildly popular.
Oh, yeah.
And then they brought it back and they made it permanent. And it's like, does this not tell you something? Like, does this not tell you something? My God.
It was exactly what I was telling you earlier, where they're just like, I loved Overwatch 1, and when they announced Overwatch 2, I was like, oh, that means we can still play Overwatch 1, right? They're like, of course. We're not going to do anything Overwatch 1. And then, like, a week or 2 before Overwatch 2 came out, like, psych, we're taking everything down.
Servers are down.
Overwatch 1 is dead. Fuck you guys. They flicked us all off, blew up Overwatch 1 right in front of us.
Eat a bag of dicks, nerds.
And they're like, now you'll never play Overwatch 1 ever again.
Yeah.
And then they realized they're hemorrhaging money and players. And they're like, well, I guess we can give them Overwatch 1 again for, like, as a treat.
But okay, listen, like,
Because it's not even, again, it's not a permanent thing. It's not like they re-released Overwatch 1, called it a remaster.
Yeah.
It's a fucking limited time or inside of Overwatch 2, which, again, just proves Overwatch 2 was pointless.
Yes.
So it's just like, all you've done is proven to me that you didn't do anything.
Yes, let's take a brief moment to just revisit what we just got done telling people. What has Blizzard put out recently? Warcraft 1 and 2. They fixed the remaster of Warcraft 3 that they fucked up so hard.
Yeah.
So these are all old ass games. World of Warcraft Classic, Mists of Pandaria, a game they've already announced, like Overwatch Classic. And oh, by the way, we put houses in World of Warcraft, and like, I feel like you talk to anybody and be like, that wasn't a thing already?
Again, I'm surprised.
How long has this game been out that you guys haven't cashed in that chip yet?
I assumed it was a thing this whole time.
Yeah. Like, what the fuck, video game industry? Like, no wonder I see all these posts online where people are like, I don't like games as much as I used to. And it's like, yeah, because these games, they're not, I mean, you know, if in order to get players back, you have to give people season 1 Tracer, then like, you need to look inwardly at the problem that caused that situation.
Yeah, if anything, it makes it so much worse when they're like, nostalgia sells. It's like, this, I feel like this wasn't even that long ago.
It wasn't.
And you guys are already playing the nostalgia card on this, so I don't know, it frustrates me.
Was it 2016?
It was
it 2016?
15, I think.
2015? When did it launch? 2016. May 3rd,
I might be
2016.
thinking of the beta, because the beta, they came out with the beta a lot.
Yeah, so, yeah. And then, you know, Hearthstone has StarCraft cards in it. And it's like, why don't you fuckers make a new StarCraft? It's just been how long since there's been StarCraft? People like StarCraft. I'm not even saying you have to come up with a new idea, even though you canceled your survival game that was cool, that I thought looked pretty cool.
I forgot about that.
But, like, make something new, you fucking idiots. I don't know. Sorry.
Fools.
Fucking, yeah. That's I think is I'm not gonna go. We're not gonna do it anymore. It's time to take a break. We're gonna take a break. So everybody stick around. When we come back, Michael, I have more stuff to yell about, but this time it's about Microsoft.
Oh,
so stick around and we'll be right back. And Michael, I have a question. I was thinking about this.
What's up?
If Absolute Batman is so big, what does Absolute Bane look like? Is he even bigger than that? Like, how big is Absolute Bane? Because that Absolute Batman looks like he could punch like regular Bane in the face
very easily. Yeah, he's like the size. Like I said, he's like twice the size of almost Bane.
Yeah,
this fucker's huge.
Yeah,
maybe it's like a Godzilla, Bane. He's just that much bigger.
Maybe he just looks like who's the guy in My Hero Academia who has the muscles on top of his muscles?
Oh, that guy,
like double muscles.
I don't remember his name, but I know who you're talking about. The guy that Deku has to just keep punching his muscles or whatever.
Yep. Anyway, enough about that. I said we're not going to have this entire podcast be about this. Actually, I've said this entire podcast wouldn't be about a lot of things.
Yes.
And sometimes I lied. But let's get back to the news, because we've got some news. I didn't open up all my news. We're going to have to go through these pretty fast because there's quite a few.
It's mostly Huey Lewis music videos.
Yes.
Specifically.
Okay. I've got a lot of Microsoft stuff.
Okay.
A bunch of ZeniMax employees who are part of that ZeniMax union went on strike last week.
Oh, okay.
And this is specifically about two things. One is that apparently Microsoft, like every other company on the planet, is trying to push everybody to come back into the office all the time.
Oh.
And I really just cannot express how stupid I think that idea is. What
annoys me about return to office stuff is the fact that it's very expensive to do office stuff.
Yes.
Like it's actually way cheaper to just. That's why a lot of companies have just outright given up. Mm-hmm. They're like my company that I work for gave up their office that they had downtown.
Yeah,
because there was only so many people in there, and they're like, "Oh, why are we paying money to be here?"
Yeah,
kind of thing.
And then the other thing, and I don't really know how this works because that ZeniMax union started as like all their QA staff. Apparently, the other thing is that they're outsourcing QA. Which doesn't make any sense to me, because if they have internal QA and those internal QA are part of a union, are you just going to keep them on and keep paying them and outsource your QA somewhere else? It also reeks to me of the whole thing of oh, guys, our QA joined a union. Well, you know what? We need some extra help on this project. Hire some outside non-union QA people in China to work on this thing.
Every time.
because they can't just fucking be cool. Just be cool. Could you guys just be cool? Microsoft is a $3 trillion company. Can you fuckers not just be cool for 10 fucking seconds?
No, Jeff. That's how they made $3 trillion worth of stuff.
They made $3 trillion because everybody in the world had to put Windows 95 on every machine that they put out. I was there when it happened.
That's true.
I was fighting the power. I had my hand raised. I was on the streets.
Didn't you work for Microsoft at one point?
Shut up. Yes, I did. I said, well, that was after I had already failed. I put my hand down and I was like, well, shit. Not only that, I worked for Microsoft. I did QA testing for Microsoft's version of AOL.
Oh my goodness.
Yes, that'll tell you. Yeah. So anyway, this was a one-day strike. They basically just like walked out one day. 2 studios did, one here in Texas and one in somewhere else.
Okay.
Maryland. I don't know. I hope that I'm really hoping that as this timeline that we find ourselves trapped in moves forward, that employers are forced to take labor rights more seriously, because I feel like they haven't been for a long time, and I wish they fucking would. So,
or the way the future looks, who knows?
Yeah,
we'll find out eventually.
Yeah. Anyway, that's pretty much the biggest, the rest of this is a little fluffier than that. So it's not just like a bunch of downers. Death Stranding, fucking stealth launch last week on the Xbox.
Oh, wow.
So we had Death Stranding was a PS5 exclusive. It came out on the PC a few years later. It had not been on the Xbox, and last week it came out on the Xbox, and it also came out at $20 for the complete edition on the Xbox.
Oh, well, it was a PS4 game originally.
PS4, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then it came in the PS5 eventually.
It came in the PS5, yes. So, oh, God damn it. I had such good segues for every one of these. Speaking of walking out, Death Stranding came out on the Xbox last week.
Oh, jeez. I heard rumors that he got the full IP.
Oh, the Kojima did?
Yeah.
I think that was connected to this. It's not part of this. It's not part of this, but apparently Kojima Productions has been expanding, and it would not surprise me.
Yeah, apparently Sony sold the rights back to him.
Yeah,
and I think part of it was because they just felt like it was too much of a hassle to keep it only on that console. Yeah, and they were just like, if you want, just take it, I guess. Kind of thing.
They didn't want to make Sony didn't want to make Death Stranding survive.
Jeez, yeah.
Once they drive Kojima off by being like, you have to do something, and Kojima's like, I'll show you what I'll do. I'll hire fucking Kiefer Sutherland to be the voice of Sam Porter Bridges, even though he's directly modeled off of some other actor.
I think the funniest thing they could have done is make a free-to-play Death Stranding delivery game.
Yeah,
but the entire game is just the delivery parts. but you can hang out with your friends and do deliveries, and stuff like that. That would have been amazing, actually. To be honest, now I think about it,
there would have been there should have been a Crazy Taxi crossover.
Oh yeah,
right. You're trying to get from one place to the other as fast as possible.
The radio now just only plays The Offspring.
Yeah. I bet he would really like that shit.
Oh, no, he would love that shit. I'd love that shit.
Well, there was an interview with Bloomberg with what's his face, Phil Spencer, last week that had a few nuggets in it as well. Speaking of Microsoft stuff, Microsoft said that while they are not currently shopping for more studios, it's not something they're taking off the table, and they would definitely be interested in doing so in the future. And it's like, man, you haven't even finished the reorg of Blizzard Activision yet.
Not only that, you make games first, dude.
Yeah,
you haven't made games with who you have now.
Yeah, what the fuck are you, Embracer Group?
What the fuck?
Put out some games. Show me you can do this. Proof of concept, bitch. You can't make Halo or Gears or anymore. Apparently, the only thing Microsoft is good at is Forza. That's all they really know how to do.
All they're like Mac, and they're just like, I'm just cultivating mass, Dennis.
Yes, exactly.
Stop cultivating and harvest that mass back.
So they said that they were eyeing a Chinese mobile company because they're still fucking hell bent on trying to get into the mobile space.
Jesus Christ!
Because they're trying to launch, their own app store with some of the stuff that Epic has done. But here's the quote: it said, "We definitely want to be in the market, and when we can find teams and technology and capability that add to what we're trying to do in gaming at Microsoft, absolutely, we will keep our heads up." And it's like, just put some games out, man.
No, make a game first. Stop talking like you're a guy trying to take over the world with a team of Mission Impossible people that eventually will do a thing, because that's not how it works, man.
Yep. I need you to like, and then so then part of this too was the idea that like they had such a problem with the FTC during the Activision acquisition, and our new president seems like the sort of president who would not put up as many roadblocks.
Oh, he wouldn't care, yeah.
About giant corporations buying other giant corporations, as long as they gave him like, I don't know, a free Fallout 76 account and he'd be really into it or whatever. But
I'm sure he would.
So there's also the possibility that we might see more expansion. Now, I've been very like I've been back and forth about this. I kind of want them to stop for a minute and like, again, harvest the mass.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want them to just acquire the entire industry and then do nothing with it. Like do something.
They're
with
dangerously
it.
close to like killing the industry by just buying it up and doing nothing with it.
I haven't heard thing one from Double Fine in like 5 years, man. I haven't seen a Double Fine game. Well, no, I saw Psychonauts too, but that was in development before.
But that was already in development.
Yeah,
I haven't heard of an announcement at all.
Yep.
Because usually that's what you would hear after an acquisition like that.
Yep.
I also haven't heard an announcement from anything Activision related that isn't just that Call of Duty release.
Well, that's all that they do. That's all that Activision does.
Yeah,
so.
like, come on, guys, work with us here.
Yeah. Anyway,
just rumors. That's all we got.
We'll see what happens. Another part of that interview was them talking about how was them asking about what games are off the table to do multi-platform releases on. And Phil Spencer basically said they're like nothing. Like there is no. The quote is, "There is no red line." I should say. I'm paraphrasing, but he used the words, "There is no red line as far as like IPs that we are not considering putting on other platforms, like even Halo." Like the possibility is that Halo could be coming to the PlayStation.
Jeff, all I'm hearing is that they're in the next Sega. Is all I'm hearing. We're gonna be the next Sega, guys.
Yeah,
whether you like it or not.
Yeah,
because holy shit, they don't give a shit anymore.
Yeah, like no identity. They're like a holding company. Like they're like ZeniMax. They're gonna be like a thing you see before the developer credit comes up.
That's all you're gonna see now. It doesn't matter anymore. Like we live in the strange times.
Yeah,
strange times for Xbox fans.
Yeah. It's like if the console race was an actual race, it's like Microsoft parked their car and said, "I'm going to open up a hot dog stand in the parking lot."
Yeah.
You're like, that isn't part of this scoring system, my man.
It doesn't make sense anymore, guys.
Yeah. I'm going to open up a hot dog stand in the parking lot and then buy the stadium, buy the track. Like
just buying cars and not using any of them. It's just very frustrating.
Let's see. And then last on there was a couple of other ones. They were asked about Black Myth Wukong on the Xbox, because that was a huge release.
Huge foresight, yeah.
Yep. This is actually a different interview. This was with Stephen Totillo at GameFile. Asked, do you know if you're getting Black Myth Wukong on Xbox at some point? Spencer, I do know. GameFile, are you getting it? Spencer, laughing, I can't announce that. That means yes.
That means absolutely yes. And he's waiting for some conference to be like, we're finally getting it, guys.
Yep.
With all new whatever technology things that they're going to say about it or something.
The Game Awards are coming up very shortly.
That's true.
A lot of this shit could end up in the Game Awards. By the way, everybody, I booted up Black Myth Wukong on PlayStation 5 Pro, and it doesn't look any better. It doesn't play any better. So
that is a shame, unfortunately.
Yeah. And then I think the last thing is that they asked about like hardware, about like a handheld, because there's been rumors for a long time that Xbox is making like a Steam Deck style handheld.
Oh, okay.
And they Phil Spencer basically said, we have the concepts of a handheld. No, he said like that there are experiments that are being done, but that like nothing is concrete, and even if they did something, it would be several years out between finalizing and then production.
I'm just picturing Phil Spencer yelling at an Xbox scientist like Obadiah Staines, like, Nintendo was able to do this in a cave with a box of scraps.
Yep.
And they're just like, can't figure it out, man. I can't make Halo work on this thing.
Because like, they've actually abandoned a lot of stuff. They had that like the Chromecast style streaming thing that's gone.
One of the reasons they abandoned that is because it was it was heating up super hardcore.
Yeah,
and, like destroying those things.
Yep. So yeah, I don't know. It's weird too because I was thinking the other week. I mean, I don't want to keep harping on this. I don't even feel like I'm lording it over anybody. I got a PS5 Pro because like I use a PlayStation for a lot of what you guys see on the channel,
and also they're releasing games.
Yes,
I know what else to tell you.
Well, also, there's that.
I don't know what else to tell you.
Yes, but like I was thinking about how because we played some Game Pass games last week, and I was like, man, if it's not on Game Pass, I'm buying it on the more powerful system. Like, Xbox has no rejoinder to the PS5 Pro. Why? Like the holidays are coming up.
It really
guys.
Just, it
like,
really just comes down to them being like, "Look, why would we? We don't have anything."
Well, yeah.
Like and like I was talking about Indiana Jones. We were like, "That's going to be on Game Pass." I'm like, I kind of just want to wait now.
Yeah.
Like before, I was like, "Yeah, I'll absolutely get Game Pass again for Indiana Jones." Now I'm just like, "No, I might just buy it physically for my PS5 Pro."
Yeah,
because that seems like a better investment.
Let's see. Speaking of handhelds, Valve is putting out a white Steam Deck.
Ooh.
So there was actually a video that they put out a long time ago where somebody had like a white prototype variant of a Steam Deck.
Oh, wow.
And it had like the Aperture Science logo on the back of it because it was all white. But Steam is now actually putting one out. It doesn't have an Aperture Science logo as far as I know.
You just buy a sticker. Yeah.
But it's kind of whitish gray. It's $30 more than the Steam OLED because it's one of the OLEDs.
Oh, okay.
So it's what is the price on it? It's $679. The normal OLED is $650. So it's you paying $30 more for white chassis that's going to, I don't know, probably pick up fingerprint. Well, I don't know. White chassis don't look. They actually they don't look as dusty, right? Because you can't see them. Black stuff has fingerprints, and you can see dust on it more.
It just comes down to like if you're kind of weird and you eat a lot of stuff and your hands just are getting kind of gunky, it's going to get very hot saucy very quickly.
Sure,
but that's normal.
If you stuff a handful of Cheetos in your mouth and you grab the white one, it'll be a little harder to get it back to white.
Exactly. Like that's always been the actual argument of it. It's like it's just stains easier.
Yeah.
But like with the PS5, it's not the same issue because you're not throwing Cheetos at it.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. But with holding it like this, it's one of the reasons why the OLED Switch. Some people had issues with that, the original version of that, because it was just pure white.
Oh, okay.
Because that's the version I have.
Yeah, this is dropping November 18th.
Okay.
So November 18th, there'll be a new Steam Deck, and you will be able to get it. So, yeah, there you go. I keep asking myself, like, do I need a Steam Deck? And I'm like, no. I spend 90% of my time in the room that has my, 100 consoles in it, and a giant TV and a PC. I have no need to sit downstairs. Like, the only reason I buy a Steam Deck was so that I could go sit downstairs and play games, and I would have to force myself to do that because I've got a better computer up here than a Steam Deck.
Well, not only that, like if I go out, I don't even take the Switch with me.
Right.
Like, and that's
I don't play games on my cell phone.
And even when I've done that, like like when I get my car oil changed or something, I'm not there long enough to warrant something like that.
You can also just fucking watch YouTube videos on your phone.
Like even when I bring my Switch, I'm not playing like Zelda. I'm playing like Ninja Turtles or something.
Yeah.
Like I'm not doing anything that would need that kind of power.
Yeah.
It's just kind of weird. I don't know. I get why people do it, but it's not for me.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's see. Speaking of hardware and white consoles, this is just some deliciousness.
Oh, yeah.
The PS5 Pro. It turns out that scalpers bought a whole bunch of PS5 Pros to do their thing like they do because they suck. Unfortunately, there's plenty of PS5 Pros. They're on store shelves. They're out there. So scalpers have basically are either like leaving it at a high price and nobody is buying it, or some of them are having to sell and then with like having to buy the original thing, ship it to themselves, and then resell it and then ship it back to somebody. Even if you sell it at retail, you're going to be taking a little bit of a loss on both of the shipping the shipping costs.
Some people, I've heard there's some rumors that some of them have sold it for like slightly cheaper because they can't even get rid of the ones they have at retail.
Yeah.
Like there's just they woefully overestimated what people wanted in this case. Because it's not like the way the Switch was where like everybody was like, oh my God, I can't wait to get one. And so the consoles themselves, like I was looking at, because I missed my delivery for mine due to just me taking a nap when the guy showed up. And I realized that I was reading on Reddit, people were just like, I don't even understand why people pre-ordered. I just went into a store and there were like 5 of them behind the counter. Like it was not impossible to find. And I was just like, oh shit, I didn't even think about it. Because in my head I had not the same thought, but the thought scalpers had. I was like, maybe they only made like a limited amount of them.
Sure.
Because no one expected them to sell as well as they have so far.
Like there was a story I didn't put in here where I think it was like one of the Sony people talking about how like the PS5 Pro sold exactly what we wanted it to.
Yeah.
It didn't undersell. It was like a higher, a higher spec system.
It sold even more than the PS4 Pro. Yeah. And the only one that anybody wanted that was being scalped was the anniversary one. And they only made so many of those. And like I don't want that one. I didn't care about that. Yeah. So does most people.
I want the performance. I'm not looking at the fucking console. I'm looking at the fucking television that's connected to the fucking console.
Anything, I'm sure I could buy a custom one later down the line if I wanted that.
Yeah. It does also make you wonder now that because since the PS5 and the Xbox Series X launched during the pandemic, right? Yeah. That if there hadn't have been a pandemic, if there never would have been a secondary market for them in the first place, because the fab plants and everything would have just, there was a big shortage of stuff and people were really buying up a lot of personal electronics. So there was a shortage of like manufacturing. But if it had just been business as usual and there just hadn't been a pandemic, if we never would have seen the rise of any of this bullshit in the first place, because it would have just been like, yeah, man, it was sold out for 6 months, but now I could just go to a Best Buy and buy a PS5. It's no problem. But it was like 2 years of having problems getting one. Like,
it was very difficult for a very long time for everything. Like there wasn't anything. It wasn't just consoles. It was like computers and hell, just the fucking video cards and stuff. Like there's a lot of reasons why a lot of that stuff was harder to find. Not just scalpers, but it sucked. But we're back. I think everything's back to normal, and there are the rumors that whenever they make the Switch 2, that they're planning on doing the same thing and make enough where they don't have to worry about that anymore.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's see. Some people are thinking that Sony might be teasing some December PlayStation showcase.
Okay.
I'd like to put up the alert that this is one of those things that's based on some weirdly dubious bullshit, but sometimes this weirdly dubious bullshit turns out to be true. And so part of this is they put out this Play Has No Limits thing. It's just like a promo for the PS5. It's just one of those things that shows a bunch of people doing stuff. And at one part during it, there's a picture of a like a train like schedule.
Oh, okay.
And it says 3/12/20, and then there's like a time and it says 20:24, right? And so people are thinking that this might be a date because it's got 2024 in it, and that it's reversed, so it's December. It's like 3rd of December 2024.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, like, I don't know, maybe, but I don't know if Sony's that cute. Like, other companies get that cute, but I don't know if Sony's that cute about trying to, like...
It's hard to tell with Japanese companies, because some Japanese companies, either they're the cutest fucking people imaginable or the most serious goddamn person you've ever met in your life.
Right.
So it's hard to figure that out, especially during April Fool's Days, because those guys, that's the ultimate test of, like, who's silly and who's not during that time.
Yeah. 2019. Oh, this is also anniversary. It's a 30th anniversary of the PlayStation.
Yeah.
And on the 25th anniversary, which was in 2019, Sony did have a December state of play, and given that the summer, it wasn't even a state of play, it was just called PlayStation Showcase, where they announced Ghost of Yotai and stuff, like that was a little bit lighter, so it's possible that they might have a lot of stuff ready to announce, and they want to do it like right at the end of the year, right before the Game Awards and stuff.
I wouldn't be surprised if we hear more stuff later down the line, especially Wolverine.
Yeah,
we haven't heard anything about Wolverine in a while.
Yep.
Especially since the leak.
Yeah. There's also Death Stranding 2 didn't get like at the
we kept expecting
Summer Games Fest. There was no like big gameplay demo. It was that weird picture mode that was like the only thing, and like a dancing puppet. So like a full on trailer. I really wouldn't be surprised if at the Game Awards or this. Actually, you know what? It probably wouldn't be at a Sony showcase because Jeff Keighley and fucking Kojima are all buddy.
Oh, yeah.
So they'll probably be at the Game Awards.
That's usually what happens with those, yeah.
Show me more Death Stranding 2, bitch. I want to see it.
That and his horror game. I would love to see more of that, too.
OD. So, yeah, I don't know. We'll see in December. I don't know. This could just be. You remember for like 4 years how every time anything happened on Rockstar's website, they were like, "It's a sign. The Grand Theft Auto 6 trailer is coming on fucking July 45th."
Everything was that wasn't just them. It was like everything. Like there were so many because people were starved for like announcements.
Yeah,
they were staring at Valve's website with a microscope, hoping for anything.
Oh right.
Then it became a meme because all people just kept showing the number 3 showed up 3 times right here, and Gabe blinked 3 times and he farted 3 times.
Yeah.
Half-Life 3 confirmed. Like, what the fuck's wrong with you people?
Let's see. There was an earnings call with Sony. We have a few earnings call news stories. And there was a question about the PSN login requirement on PC games that Sony's been putting out. And it was kind of, this was a translated answer. Here, I'll just read it. This is from, let me make sure I know who this is. This was from the president of Sony, Hiroki Totoki. Oh, okay.
That's a video game character name if I've ever heard it.
So here's the full quote. We have learned a lot. The way to, and this is translated from Japanese on the fly, so it's a little rough. We've learned a lot. The way to face the issues regarding PC, for instance, the PlayStation accounts that we have offered by offering them, for instance, sometimes that tends to invite pushback. But for the live service games, in order to maintain order of the gaming so that anybody can enjoy the game safely, we need to create an environment conducive to that. And of course, enjoying the game freely. Having some restrictions, we may not call it a rule, but to ask the users and gamers to follow the manner, and that balance is very important. We have to continue to seek the best way to achieve this, which seems to be basically code for, yes, this is going to continue to happen. Yeah. They apparently do not care about the wailing and the gnashing and the PC and whatever. It's just people keep buying their games. So like, this is just one of those things where if Spider-Man 2 comes out on the PC and flops because none of you want to log into a PlayStation account, they might reconsider. But y'all are going to have to not buy Spider-Man 2 or play it no matter how much you want to on the PC in order to send a message. And right now that's not happening. Well,
not only that, the repercussions are smaller for some stuff like that because the PC market isn't their main market to begin with. And not only that, the biggest reason the Helldivers one was reversed was, one, they had already sold it to everybody.
Yep.
And two, Steam had to limit a lot of stuff they had already spent money on.
Yep.
So that just made them look bad, and they could have easily been, one, sued very easily, and two, forced to give refunds out.
Yep.
So, but now that they're past it, they're like, okay, now you guys know about it. So there's no point in hiding, or not hiding it, but there's no point in having this conversation anymore. It's either you're in or you're out. Is what their thought process is.
It's also a question of whether, I don't know that we know. Is the majority of the wailing and the gnashing of teeth coming from America? Is it just that Europe will totally buy Spider-Man? They don't give a shit whether you got to log into a PSN account, or is it the problem with these stories is did they sell 1 million units of Spider-Man on the PC and then they got 400 people on Reddit that were like, bah, because if that's the case, then who cares? Overwhelmingly negative. Who gives a shit? You motherfuckers still bought it. If you didn't buy it, that's the thing. Nobody cares unless you actually put your money where your actual mouth is. Yeah. Not whether you complain on Reddit.
And with Helldivers, it was it was a sense of momentum that they shattered. Using doing that. And again, they had opened themselves up to a lot of backlash that could go somewhere. Yeah. But again, now that they're past it, you guys know what you're getting into. Either you're in or out. Do you spend the money? We care. We don't care.
Yep.
Yeah.
We also got some questions in that earnings call about Concord and how Sony is going to keep something like that from happening again.
I bet they're probably studying that thing like a fucking beaker.
Yeah,
because he kept exploding.
So here's the comments on that. Well, you know what? I'll summarize. This isn't as necessary to hear the exact thing. Basically, what they're talking about is that they need to do more play testing earlier in development, because the problem with Concord was that it was in development for a long time before anybody really that studio was allowed, Firewalk was allowed to basically just keep developing it, and it was a long time before anybody saw it, before it got exposed to executives or QA teams or whatnot. And so I think the idea here is they want people to be playing a lot rougher builds of games to be able to give feedback on just like, is this fun? Like, give me the one with the fucking man made out of polygons and like half finished environments. And I can tell you, yeah, that was fun. You should keep doing that. Like, do more of that, as opposed to letting it get 2/3 of the way done and then going and playing it and being like, ooh, I don't know if this was such a good idea, but then you've got sunk cost and you can't go back. Now, I can imagine this would be a little irritating having corporate looking over your shoulder that early on in the genesis of a new property.
Well, it's tricky because there are stories of those exact types of people looking over a game early build and being like, this is terrible, and then the game turns out great. God of War PS4 is a great example of that. There's an old, I don't remember who it was, but it was one of the executives. It's like, yeah, I played God of War PS4 very early on, and I was like, this is fucking terrible. We're fucked. Like, he was legitimately like worried that the whole thing would fail.
Yeah.
And then he's like, and then it came out and it turned out great, kind of thing. So it's a very worrisome thing because corporate people don't fully know what people want.
Yes.
They just think it's the way movie producers are. Where they're like, everybody loves monkeys. We're gonna put monkeys in everything, kind of thing.
Yep.
Clint Eastwood's gonna have a monkey in a truck. Well, let's do this shit.
Right.
And then if it works, it works. And if it doesn't, that studio is the one who pays for it.
You have to take a chance with some of this stuff. Like you have to leave. Sometimes you have to leave people alone, and then you have to see, did it work? And sometimes it doesn't work. Like, that's the thing I think that irritates corporate when it comes to people that are overseeing art, is that there is no sure thing.
Yeah.
Like, you can make a game that looks great on paper and then you launch it and it's garbage. Or you can make a game that looks like garbage on paper and then you launch it and people are like, I fucking love this game. Like,
sometimes you get an ET and sometimes you get Mac and Me. I just don't know what to tell you.
So I don't know. We'll see if that works out. I don't know. Part of me is just like, this is what I've been asking for, in a way of having at least high-level management being held more accountable for some of the failures that happens, as opposed to just, the guy that's making the armor that you're going to sell on your store for 40 cents, or the QA tester that's like, it was all right. Like,
well, the main thing is that this is an evolution of the way business is done, because the amount of money to make a AAA game is so massive, and nobody wants to do AA games anymore.
Right.
And so this is just something that I'm amazed they have that they weren't really doing already.
Yeah.
Like, why weren't there houses in World of Warcraft?
Yep.
Why weren't they paying attention to a game midway through it? These are questions I need answered.
They also talked about how there was a lot of siloing going on, so a lot of development teams that were just all off on their own.
Yeah.
And then you come in 2 years later and you're like, what you got for me? And they're just like, this? It's like, wait, what? You've been working on this for 2 years? And
they're like, what do you got? I made sure the teeth looked really good.
Right.
From really far away.
Right.
in our sim builder game. Like, why?
Yeah.
What's wrong with you?
Yeah. This is a little bit of a transition. We got Stellar Blade. We got the PC port release for Stellar Blade in another earnings call.
Oh, okay.
So this is happening. Let's see. Oh, geez. Wait, when? God damn it. Sometime in 2025. Sorry. This doesn't have like a specific. Sorry, I lied. It was a long time ago that I read the story. So it's coming out in 2025. It's been confirmed. It's going to be on the PC. We have a firm release date, and everybody is really interested in that because the game will probably sell extremely well on the PC.
Yeah.
November 20th.
Get the weirdest fucking mods you've ever seen in your life.
Well, the big thing is going to be actually putting photo mode in the game, because there is no photo mode in the game.
Okay. Again, I'm surprised by that. Yeah.
We also got another DLC, as well as the release date, November 20th, for the Nier Automata DLC for Stellar Blade.
It's just a no-brainer, really.
Yeah. Which, I don't know, kind of makes you wish that there was a little bit more. Well, I don't know. It's interesting seeing Nier be so high resolution, because the Nier Automata was like a PS4 game.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, I don't want Yoko Taro to just have to keep making Nier games. I want that crazy motherfucker to do whatever the fuck he wants, like Kojima. I just want him to go out and do his craziness, and then I will come and play it.
I feel like he's just doing it to pay the bills for the weird shit he wants to do eventually.
Oh, well,
That's
sure.
the hope, at least.
I'm sure they just called him up and they were like, "Hey, can we put outfits of your characters in this weird like cyber booby game?" And he was like, "Yeah."
We're like, "Oh yeah."
How much do I get from it? You know what? It's not even important. Give me something. Sure, you can have it in the game with the upskirts and the skippy boobtastic protagonist. So I spent the first 5 hours of the game trying to find pants. Pants! Just some pants for my fucking character to wear.
And you're like, oh god, she's hotter somehow.
Yep. And then I got mom jeans.
Which is pretty hot, yeah.
And then I realized how big her butt was. Well, speaking of stuff that's going to look better on various consoles, this is a weird-ass story. Grand Theft Auto Trilogy got a big update.
Is this the original trilogy, or which one is this?
This is the re-release. This is a very strange story. Okay, I didn't realize this has happened, but so the original GTA Trilogy edition was made by a company called Grove Street.
Yeah.
They were given no time and zero money, and they basically did a terrible job. But 2 years after that came out, Netflix released phone versions of these remastered.
That I did remember hearing.
And they did it was a separate company that did those versions, and they looked way better. They had better like lighting and better images and stuff.
Okay.
And the people weren't as all fucked up in their faces, I think. I
guess I don't even know. I'd have to look into it.
So there was a big update, and they basically put the Netflix phone versions of like all the lighting and stuff onto the console versions.
Oh wow.
So like here's a comparison between the original and then this was like the phone version, and it's got like a better lighting engine that makes it look better. So apparently they did a giant update that changed a lot of the stuff. There was a lot of bugs that got fixed, like well, first off, you could like run and gun, I guess, in a bunch of them now.
Oh, that's
something that you couldn't even do in the original.
Oh,
if
yeah.
you had a shotgun or a machine gun, you had to stand still to shoot at people.
Yeah, because they weren't sure, they couldn't figure out how to make that work.
Yeah. And there's some other stuff too. So
that's crazy.
Like there's some interesting updates. I was looking online to try to figure out if all the character models had been worked on, or if they were still kind of like with the weird cartoony looking versions, and I couldn't really find that out.
I don't really think there's an easy way of fixing that, unfortunately.
Yeah. The other thing is that now when you load up these versions of the game, the Grove Street logo is off.
Oh, it's not even on there anymore?
Like they don't credit them at all anymore.
Oh my god.
I was just like, ooh.
I want to say those poor guys, but they probably better off not being remembered for that.
Yeah.
Shit. That's so funny.
Yep. Yeah. So hey, if you were into old Grand Theft Auto, I don't know why you would want to play. I mean, they didn't look like, even if you look at like running Vice City like in an emulator, right?
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't want to fucking play that. It looks like ass. It looks like assy ass. Like there are better versions of Grand Theft Auto to play that are not this. Like
that's true.
I don't know what to say, but you know, fucking Kylo Ren your childhood, you motherfuckers. Like go play good games.
You really should, yeah.
Yeah. Speaking of driving around in cars, Ubisoft is getting sued for shutting down live services on The Crew.
Wow.
This is different than the guy that was trying to pressure the European Union. Yeah, European Union to basically push back on Ubisoft because they sold The Crew. They sold it for money. Eventually, they shut it down. There is no offline mode. You can't do anything. The Crew is basically defunct. You could have given them your money, and now you don't have a video game to play.
Yeah.
So this lawsuit's being filed in California. California just recently like signed that bill that made it so you have to basically put like marking on your game if you're doing like a live service game. So the California court system is a little bit more engaged when it comes to consumer protections than, like other places. So two people are basically suing Ubisoft for exactly what you would think. They were like, you sold us something and it doesn't work anymore. And these people bought The Crew actually quite a ways after it got released, without any, big notifications this was going to happen. And I think it's a good thing. Like, I don't agree with the idea, especially, considering you bought the optical drive for your PS5 Pro, but my PS5 Pro is all digital, baby.
Yeah, I'm a physical man.
Like, you shouldn't be able to sell people video games and then turn them off when you feel like it. I don't know what to say. Like,
I did read part of this article, and my favorite is the example of what they're like, what it's like. It's like, imagine buying a pinball machine, and then you come down to play it, and you find out every fucking part of it's missing.
Yeah, the flippers are missing, the balls are missing, and there's just like a thing on the screen that says, sorry.
Like the company just took all your shit out of the pinball machine. Like, I'm like, that's amazing.
Yep.
That's such an interesting way of putting it.
So here's the actual stuff. First, by misleading, they were duped in two ways. First, by misleading players into thinking that they were buying a game when they were merely licensing it, even if the player bought a physical disc. And second, that Ubisoft falsely represented that the Crew's files were on its physical disc to access freely, and the discs weren't simply a key to the game.
Oh, wow.
There's a lot of PC games that were just fucking... What was it? Back in the day, there was a bunch of games where you would go to GameStop and buy a PC game, and it was just a Steam code.
Yeah.
Like, it wasn't even a disc in there. It was just a fucking code for Steam.
And they were like big boxes, too. They weren't just like a small case. It was like fucking the way they used to be, where they were like the size of books almost, and then you'd open it was a Steam code. And you're like, what's the point of this?
So yeah, I'm a fan of getting this shit straightened out. Get some rules. Look, if they come up with a rule and the rule says we don't have to tell you and fuck you, okay, that's fine. If that's the rule, if the rule is that video game manufacturers get to do whatever the fuck they want to and we don't have no rights, fine, but just say that out loud and write it down on a piece of paper, and then I can be like, I would like to run for California Senate to change this piece of paper. So
yeah, just make a precedent is really what's happening here.
Let's see. In other lawsuit news, we got to know what Nintendo is suing Pocket Pair for when it comes to Power World, and it is actually the 3 patents that I said it was. Michael, I don't know if you've been keeping up with this. I do not understand what the fuck is happening here.
I have a friend who's been keeping up with it. He's been trying to explain it to me.
So the 3 patents that they have are basically patents for Arceus, Pokemon Arceus. Mm-hmm. One is like throwing an object in the world and like having it hit and capture something in an open world setting. The second is summoning a creature and then having a menu that you can use to choose what that creature does. And the third is summoning an animal or mount and then getting on it and traversing an open world. And I'm like, none of these seem specific enough.
No, none of them seem
to your
super
thing.
Specific.
Also,
especially the last one.
All 3 of those patents were filed after like this year, like July of this year.
Oh, that's stupid.
Power World came out in January.
Yeah.
But then the third thing, and somebody needs to write in the comments because I don't fucking understand this at all. They are suing for damages in the amount of 10 million yen for... This is to be split 3 ways between Nintendo, the Pokemon Company, Nintendo and the Pokemon Company, 2 ways.
Okay.
This is about $30,000 per entity. And I'm like, is there another part where they have to shut down Power World? Like,
because that's nothing.
Because if it's just $30,000, why even bother filing a lawsuit? Unless there's something, I got to be missing something about the system where, like, if that lawsuit gets upheld, then the next step is that Nintendo can create an injunction against Pocket Pair to make them remove those from the game.
That might be part of it. It might be just that they're setting the precedent, and then
is this like the minimum amount?
Once it's won, they can like try to put restrictions on them.
Yeah,
like honestly, based on the amount of money, it feels like a warning shot.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like, Like they fired a shot next to them, and they're like, next one's in your face, fucker. Kind of thing. It's just like, what's happening?
I need to go watch. Moon Channel did another thing about this lawsuit, and I only half paid attention to when I was watching it.
This lawsuit is bullshit, by the way, based on the fact that they filed these patents way after the fact.
Yeah, it seems like they're real. It seems like they're grasping for something, but I don't understand what it is. I need a lawyer to actually explain this to me because I don't understand.
This is a stupid lawsuit. I generally don't know what's going to happen with this thing. It's just batshit insane to me.
Yeah. Well, hey, Nintendo also filed another lawsuit last week, Michael, where they're suing. They're suing an individual for $7.5 million.
Oh my god!
This is a guy. This is every game guru who's like a streamer who is basically streaming unreleased Nintendo Switch games running on emulators, and they kept shutting down their channel, and they had hundreds of like sock puppet alternate Twitch and YouTube live channels, so they would just move on to another one every time it got shut down. Also, they're streaming on Kick, who doesn't give a shit about anything.
That's true, yeah.
And so I'm sorry, this guy sent an email to Nintendo telling them, you'll never stop me, I've got hundreds of alts, you motherfuckers can't do anything, eat a bag of dicks. And so Nintendo,
oh my god,
filed in court. Now, I think that their reasoning is kind of, I don't know, like...
Well, they always go the most extreme case scenarios.
Yeah. Their idea is, here's just a quote. Streaming leaked games prior to their publication normalizes and encourages pre-release piracy. Defendant is signaling to viewers that they, too, should acquire a pirate copy and play the game now without waiting for its release and without paying for it. Pre-release piracy harms law-abiding Nintendo customers who have been waiting for a particular game release for months or years, and then may see gameplay and spoilers online that ruin their own surprise and delight when experiencing the game. In turn, pre-release piracy causes Nintendo tremendous harm, including millions of dollars of monetary harm from lost video game sales, both of Nintendo and its licensees' copyright games, and loss of goodwill. And I'm like, okay, all right, you're laying this on a little fucking thick, motherfuckers. Like,
the thing is that Nintendo and people who work for Nintendo are already like this real badly.
Chill.
They have no chill.
No chill.
Most famous example of this is Sakurai after Smash Brothers 4 came out.
Yeah.
The Smash Brothers Brawl, I think it was Brawl. It had a very in-depth, at the time at least, campaign mode that had cutscenes and stuff and everything.
Yeah.
All of that stuff leaked on YouTube prior to the game's release, and he was so fucking upset that he was like, no, we're never doing that ever again. So that's why the new one.
Oh, that's why the Wii U one didn't have a campaign.
It didn't have a campaign, and that's why the last one, Ultimate, has like 0 cutscenes in between. Because it's just like the beginning cutscene, and that was fine because that was in the trailer.
Yeah,
nothing else in between.
Interesting.
And that's exactly why he did that, because he was so fucking pissed at the rest of the world.
Yeah. So the way that this broke down is Nintendo wants $150,000 in damages for each alleged violation of their rights, and $2,500 per violation arising from violations of anti-circumvention, anti-trafficking provisions.
Christ.
And so with over 50 alleged violations, because each game that was streamed counts as a separate every stream counts as a separate violation, it basically racks up to $7.5 million. And I'm like, okay, listen, one, this guy sounds like a fucking dick. But
no, he's an idiot, 100%.
Yeah, and he also falls into that category that we run into a lot of times where it's just like, what are you doing? You're just breaking the law on Twitch.tv.
Yeah.
What the fuck are you doing?
And you thought that protected you somehow.
Right.
From the world?
people are just unafraid of getting sued. Apparently, they think they could just be like, "Well, never happened to me. This is my Netflix show. This is a Netflix show about me."
Yeah, have you seen, like, there was that one that I saw? It was like a TikTok or something of this woman be like, "This is how you can make money fast," and it was just fraud.
Oh, it was
just do bank fraud.
No, it was like it was writing a hot check. It was just like you write a big check, and then like before they reject it, you like cash it, and then you take the money, and it's like, No, that's just crime.
No, yeah.
And you will get the money. Eventually, your bank will come for you to get it back. Like,
well, that was only one of them. The one I saw was like make a fake company, get a business credit card, and buy your own shit from yourself, and use the money that you're paying yourself to pay off your credit card, which makes it look like you get a bunch of business, to then increase your credit limit to do the whole thing over again.
These are crimes.
This is just fraud. This is just fraud. All you've done, you've discovered crime.
The Securities and Exchange Commission will come,
and all you did
and charge you
was get a hot Latina woman to be like, "This is how you make your business flourish."
Sure.
No, it's crime. All you did was crime.
You did crime.
What is wrong with you people? And they put it all over the internet with their face, their name. They're like, "Come to me if you want to learn how to do fraud for you." And it's like, no, this is what is wrong with you?
Yeah, I will say again, I do think that like this is a little much to go after this guy for $7.5 million.
No, this is Nintendo doing what logically Nintendo does,
right?
But the difference is this guy didn't even try to hide his tracks, because everybody else we've ever seen these types of things happen to, the guy, the Bowser guy, the other emulation people,
the Ragings, and
all
Yuzu.
of those people were very like, I'm trying to circumvent this and keep you from getting to me as long as I can.
Yeah.
This guy was just like, fucking just come for me.
Yeah.
He flicked off the world, and he was just like, I fucking dare you, you stupid fucks. Like then they did.
It's like the people that took pictures of like the stolen PS5s or something, and then they were selling hot PS5s online, but then they were like taking pictures of them and putting it on their Twitter. It's like, don't document your own crimes.
Exactly. Like, there's so many of those guys that were just like, I'm doing it. Just like, I dare you to come for me.
It just reminds me of that in Liar Liar, where he gets the phone call from his guy and he just says, "Stop breaking the law, asshole."
That's exactly what it is. It's so fucking funny.
All right, let's finish up because
I feel no remorse.
One more Nintendo story here. Apparently, Nintendo announced that the Switch 2 was happening. They announced that Switch 2. They still haven't announced, done a full stream for that, but everybody knows it's a thing, and I like the fact that they're not pretending it doesn't exist. The Switch 2 is apparently going to have full backwards compatibility with the first Switch, and they announced this news right in the middle of the United States presidential election. Like, it was on a Tuesday. It was on Tuesday night.
What a strange thing to do.
When we were all looking at this stuff, and everyone was like, "Why now? What? We have bigger fish to fry."
Also, it wasn't they have, like you said, they haven't announced the actual console itself.
Yep.
Like, when did they even say this at?
At today's corporate management policy briefing, we announced Nintendo Switch software will also be playable on the successor to Nintendo Switch.
This is that Mortal Kombat 1 shit again. You remember that? When they're like, WB is like, hey, we're releasing a new Mortal Kombat this year.
Yep.
This is how we found out.
This is November 5th, which was the Tuesday of the election, at 7:26 p.m.
Oh my god. This is how we officially find out.
Yep.
In the middle of a fucking corporate call, the same way we did with Metal Gear 1. Or not Metal Gear, Mortal Kombat 1.
And with that, we're out of time. We have a couple more stories. I might try to put one of these in before we do the trailers, but we're going to take a break. When we come back, we got trailers. Stick around. And before we get into the trailers, I have one last. Well, this is kind of like a trailer adjacent story, Michael.
Yeah, it's like part of it kind of thing.
There was a trailer last week, or there was like a little part of one of the little mini docs for Metal Gear Solid Collection. Yeah. So I didn't actually know that this was a thing, but apparently
I didn't either.
We didn't know who the voice actress for Eva and Snake Eater was for a long time. It was the voice actor was credited as Suzette Mignette.
Never even occurred to me it was a fake name.
And people were like, that's not a real person. I don't know if we had as much internet then as we do now. But
well, we didn't really, this is going to sound bad, but we didn't really pay attention to actors who did the voices at the time.
Yeah.
Unless it was Snake. That was the only time we cared for a bit.
Yes. So for a long time, there's been a rumor that it was Jodie Benson. So Jodie Benson was the voice of Ariel in the original Little Mermaid.
Yes.
As well as Barbie and the Toy Story franchise. And the thing is that when they made this, she was the voice of Ava, but Ava's such a sexually explicit character in such a quote-unquote adult video game that they were like, should we put you under a different name? And she was like, maybe. And then they asked what the name of her dog was. And it was Suzette Monet. And then they changed the Monet to Mignette.
That's fascinating. That's amazing.
That's how it came from. So apparently they in the last doc episode, they like had her there and they talked about it, whatever. It's funny too, because there's an anecdote where apparently once upon a time she was at a convention and somebody came up to her and they put down a copy of Snake Eater and they were like, and she was like, why do you want me to sign this? And he's like, oh, you know why I want you to sign this. And she was like, do you know my dark secret? And he was like, yes. And apparently she signed it and then she was like, okay, but just fucking
don't tell nobody.
Don't keep it under your hat.
You keep that shit to your grave, sir, until it comes out.
So yeah, which is what a great story. So so we know after all these years. And with that, let's go ahead and get into the trailers.
I love that so much.
Our first trailer, speaking of voice actors, is something with a lot of voice actors. We got another trailer for Secret Level coming out early December. This is the anthology based on a bunch of video games that the Love
Can't
Death
wait
and
for the
Robots.
Concord episode.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. I think Concord would probably make a better show than it would have game.
Oh, it will. Don't get me wrong, but it just makes it that much funnier that it's happening still.
Yeah. We got to see quite a bit more of quite a few of these different games. There's a few in here that I'm like, I don't know. They could probably make a good story, but like, I don't care about Eternum, the New World.
No, yeah. But that's kind of the point of they're like shorts or like just episodes. So they weren't designed to be whole, TV shows.
Yes.
Like they're ideas that you can play around with that in short bursts, which I'm happy for them for.
Yeah. And I mean, all of it looks amazing, right? It all is wonderful looking. I think that like some of the standouts for me in here is they showed a little bit more of the Mega Man stuff, which I thought looked really good. Like, and they showed like a couple of more external shots of Armored Core, which made me really happy. I was like pausing it, trying to figure out like, wait, do I know which parts those are? Do I know those parts?
I can't go over the fact that Pac-Man is one of the ones on here.
It's interesting that Sifu is in here.
I think that's awesome, though, considering.
Yeah, considering kind of how old it is.
Well, a lot of these, there's a lot of these games are really old,
What did you think about that? That's Dr. Light.
Yeah, I think he looks great.
Yeah. It's interesting to see the kind of like, kind of cartoony, but also really high detail cartoony.
Well, some of it reminds me of the way Astro Boy was, like the way, like especially the Mega Man stuff.
Yeah,
where it is that it's like very highly detailed cartoon sometimes, but not all of it is, of course. But like Seafood looks fucking incredible.
Looks very violent too, which I'm glad. That this doesn't all have to be for babies. Yeah, I don't know. It looks really good. Like I actually can't wait to check it out. I'm a big fan. I feel like the movie/entertainment industry is still like the non-game industry is still trying to get a handle on what to do with like game stories. Now they're very popular, and I think this is a good step. Oh, so we saw quite a bit more of the Spelunky one, which looks good.
It was another one of those ones that I'm like, this is an interesting thing to do. It was a Spelunky one.
I think they're just making up. Oh wait, no, I recognize that shotgun.
The Armored Core one is really cool, but a lot of it's just like, it's exciting because this is what you should be able. This is the thing that I want more people to do with video games, is just that like you don't have to make entire movies or entire shows. A quick short, it goes a long way for a lot of people.
Hell yeah. For a long time, that's all we got. Yeah. Blur Studios come out and do some shit. I mean, these same guys. So
we need more. We need more like this for more games. Is really what it comes down to.
Let's see. Speaking of good looking stuff, we got a 15-minute, almost 15-minute, 14-minute, 20-second deep dive into Indiana Jones and the Great Circle. I found myself like watching this and being like, I don't know if there's anything in here that I didn't already know. Like
it is, yeah. I did watch this because I'm a big Indiana Jones fan, and I was like, look, it's just you're telling me what I already kind of knew about this game. Yeah, and all it did was make me excited to play the game, but it also made me decide I kind of want to play this on the Pro to see what that looks like.
Yeah,
because it looks great. Everything about it looks great.
Absolutely. So for it's just they showed a little bit of like kind of spelunking and escaping traps, and they showed. I do think the thing that's interesting to me that I don't normally associate as much with Indiana Jones, even though when I think about it, it is they showed a lot of this like disguise stuff of like disguising yourself and going into an area and kind of Hitman style, trying to stay away from people who might know who you are.
Like it's a thing from Indiana Jones that a lot of people forget that he does throughout the series.
Yeah,
I always remember the one at the end of the first movie where he knocks out a guy and the clothes don't fit him.
Oh yeah,
it's such a thing that movies don't normally do.
Right.
Like because every time they knock somebody out, everything fits perfectly.
Right.
That was one of the first movies I ever saw where there's like, oh, this jacket is way too fucking small.
Yeah, I guess in the first movie he both dresses up as like he dressed up to go into the dig site.
Yeah,
and then he also dresses up in the Nazi uniform to get on the submarine.
End, and then I know he's done it, and he also did it in the third one. I don't remember. I haven't seen Temple of Doom in a long time.
Is that,
I know he does that.
It looks a lot like Tony Todd.
Yeah, this is one of the last things Tony Todd did.
Oh, I didn't realize he was in this. Okay.
Yeah, he plays the big heavy.
Yeah, pouring out for Tony Todd. Yeah, everything about this looks good. I mean, again, they show some cutscenes. The voice doesn't bother me at all, but I don't, I'm not sensitive to that sort of thing.
It's going to bother me only because it's like, I hear you, Troy Baker, in there. You're also, you don't emote, but most people who do Harrison Ford impressions, cannot do it while emoting at the same time.
Yeah,
and I can't blame them because it's very difficult to do.
And
Harrison Ford can't even do it anymore, and he's Harrison Ford.
It looks like. It looks like a lot of like puzzles and stuff. It's interesting because I thought back to Machine Games' previous games, and I think that a lot of what they're known for was action more than like this kind of exploration puzzle stuff. But all this stuff looks solid. It looks like a fucking Uncharted game, which makes sense because Uncharted is Indiana Jones. So
and I think the fact that it is first person is the reason why I find it a little more interesting than if it was just Uncharted again.
Yeah. Well, also it's like the progenitor. Also, they showed some stuff with like the whip and some of the like action stuff with being able to knock stuff out. I do like. You watched all of this.
I did.
I do like how they talk about the upgrades, and like one of the upgrades is like pick up your hat, and if you get knocked out in a fight, you could crawl over and pick up your hat. It does a little cutscene where he picks the hat up and stands up and puts it back on again, and you get like a second shot at it. And I'm like,
so great.
That's very cool, you guys.
Also, I love a game that's just like pick up your hat.
Yeah,
I love that shit.
Yeah. All the character models, environments, and everything look really good. I'd be curious to know though if this is the Xbox or if this is PC.
That's
probably
a good point,
PC, but I don't know. We've seen console games that look as good as this. It's not like this is outside of the realm of possibility of being.
No, it's not like that much more impressive than any other because like it's like it could just be a Series X game.
Yeah,
like nothing else.
So yeah, I don't know. It'll be interesting to find out. I mean, we're like 2 weeks, 3 weeks away.
It's very soon.
It's very, very shortly. So yeah, you go check this out if you're interested. I mean, everything I'm seeing, it's hard to comment on it because it like looks like a solid ass video game.
Yeah.
The end.
And I hope it does well because I want more Indiana Jones stuff.
Yeah. I just want more Machine Games. Like, that's why I hope it does well so they don't fucking axe Machine Games immediately.
Look, Jeff, I've been wanting another actual Indiana Jones game for like fucking 15 years.
Well, man, I'm happy for you. I hope it's good. I'm
still mad they fucking canceled the one back in 2008 to make Force Unleashed.
Oh, yeah.
Those bastards.
Let's see. Speaking of movie stars, we got a full Ghostface trailer for Mortal Kombat 1.
Yeah.
It's very strange. I'm still kind of strange about Ghostface. Like,
that's an odd thing because Ghostface is just some guy usually.
Yeah.
They're rarely ever like good at what they do.
Well, I do like in watching this that they really are leaning into the fact that multiple people are Ghostface.
Yeah.
Because there's just like a bunch of different people. But then like, all the attacks are basically just like, I have a knife. And there's like a point where he gets like a bigger knife.
Yeah, there's not much going on in the way of like really interesting things, I feel.
I do though like that he's got like a scorpion like come from the other side thing. But when he does it, it's accompanied by calling a cell phone or calling like a cordless phone from the 90s. And then the guy shows up behind him, obviously indicating this is a different guy, so that there's like switching places.
I love that though, but it's a nice love of the lore of Scream.
Yeah, for me, it's just the main thing is like Mortal Kombat people are gods.
Yeah,
and you're just like, a dude.
Also, it's hard not to think of scary movies sometimes.
That's true. That's true.
I kept expecting to say "What's up."
That would be great if they had like an alternate skin that was the
"What's up" face.
Scary movie face.
Oh, I love that. They should. They're gonna make more scary movies apparently.
I was actually thinking, like, the best Easter egg would be if somehow there was a skin that turned him into Ghostface Killer
from
the Wu-Tang Clan.
That would be so fucking funny. I'd love that.
Did you watch this one?
No, I didn't really watch the whole thing.
So we got the brutality, which is just kind of stabbing a guy and like cutting. This is like a scene from the movie, cutting his hand in half. I'm not sure about it.
Yeah.
But the fatality is excellent, Michael. When you say finish him, he goes up to do the stab, and then he starts stabbing the character, and then the game zooms out to Johnny Cage playing Mortal Kombat on the couch, and then Ghostface comes up behind him and stabs Johnny Cage. And I don't know if it's the same, like, because the fatality was on not Johnny Cage.
Yeah.
So I don't know if every fatality is
it's just Johnny Cage.
Is Johnny Cage
that
playing Mortal
really
Kombat
funny.
1. Like Johnny Cage is watching this happen on the TV, and he complains about, what the fuck? I was robbed. And then out from behind him, Ghostface comes out and fucking stabs him in the heart. And I'm just like, that's great.
That's such a fun idea.
That's great.
Because I saw the image of that, but I just assumed that was them doing it to Johnny Cage.
Right.
But seeing it was not is way funnier.
Yeah. That also shows animality is like a vulture.
That's fucking strange, for
fine.
sure.
But yeah, I don't know. I kind of like it a little bit. And that launches, the Ghostface launches very shortly.
Yeah.
It's like the early access on the 19th and then full release on the 26th.
Okay. So if you have the pass, then you're just going to have the 19th anyways.
Yep. Speaking of fighting games, we got a video showing Jinx, the character, one of the big characters in Arcane, in that 2X KO.
It's Project L for me forever.
Yeah.
You guys fucked up by calling it that originally.
She looks like a very, she's a long range character, right? She's got mostly like guns and bombs and stuff. So they show a lot of kind of different stuff. I'm really liking the way that this game is looking. Like,
no, it looks fantastic still, but it's just that's a terrible fucking name.
What's that?
The name is just a terrible name.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like it doesn't roll off the tongue at all.
Yeah. It's League of Smackdown of Legends.
Like you could have called it League of Versus, and I think people would have found that interesting.
Brawl of Legends, something. You guys, there's still time. You can get a new channel.
Yeah, you really should come up with something else, guys.
But yeah, there's a new playtest coming out, and yeah. Also, it should be noted that having now watched Arcane, I can say that like this is more the League of Legends Jinx, whereas the Arcane Jinx is like a weirdly tragic character. This is just like it's the Joker with the machine gun kind of character.
Yeah, she was just a crazy person.
Yeah,
and then the show made everyone like, oh, I love her and her sister or whatever.
Yep.
And they're like, oh, she became a cop. Like, well, did you not know about it? Okay. Like you just have to just let it go. You're like, okay, guess you just didn't know what was going on here.
No, I can't talk about it. I'll have to tell you later. I don't want to spoil season 1 in case people, after I did that whole thing, in case people go watch Arcane. But there's an interesting thing that happened that I was like, oh, that's a different way to go about things. Anyway, speaking of movie stuff, Moana 2 is getting some Minecraft 2 or Minecraft skins. This is like really
okay.
It's very detailed for what it is. It's like you can make your own little skiff, and you can fight the little like tiki guys that they fight in the first Moana.
That's kind of fun. I never saw Moana, to be honest.
Oh, it's very good.
I know the second one's coming out soon.
The songs were so catchy. You can also fight Tomatoa, Jermaine Clement, the giant crab. There's like a fucking boss fight with this. I'm like, this is kind of impressive, you guys. Like you can go rescue Maui out of the cave. And
apparently there's a YouTuber that uses that character as like their icon. And so a bunch of people on Twitter, every time they see that icon or that picture, they immediately think of that guy instead.
He's like Tomatoa the crab?
Yeah, because he's like a movie reviewer or something. He uses that image all the time. I don't know why. Just a thing.
Got a real fucking catchy song. Yeah. Michael, I want to encourage you to go watch Moana. It's not a full 9 1-hour episode season. It's like 90 minutes long, and it's got some good songs.
I just never did. I meant to. I just never got around to it.
Yep. You can have my Disney Plus login. I'm not using it. let's see. Speaking of kind of blocky stuff, we got a little mini doc on the Lego Horizon Adventures, which by the time you hear this will already be out.
Oh, okay.
It's actually already out as of us recording this, but it was a strange one. They talked a lot. They actually said something that made me more excited for it, where I didn't know this, but you know how sometimes in the Lego games, the world will be just like grass and then it's got like Lego stuff on it?
Yeah.
Everything is Lego. All of the rocks are Lego. All of the ground is Lego. Everything is made out of Legos in here. And I like it better when they do that because it's more cohesive.
No, I'm a big fan of that. Like, that's the way the Lego movie did it.
Yeah.
So, and I'm happy that they made sure to do it this way.
Everybody is, all the developers talking about this were really excited. And they were just like, yeah, babies could play it, but also it's cool.
People of all ages can play a Lego game, which is true, but it's just I'm just always surprised that this is the game that got the Lego thing.
Well, I think they've done all the franchises, right? Lego has already done every franchise.
Well, they've done a bunch of movie stuff, but I feel like game-wise, I'm surprised this is the one that got one.
Yeah.
Kind of thing.
Well, at least this isn't coming out like opposite some... Well, wait, Stalker 2 comes out next week, so that might be...
Are you thinking of, like, is this the only one that's not going to have, like, something coming out at the same time that fucks it?
Yeah.
Because that would be the funniest goddamn thing on the planet.
Yeah, it's funny because they talked about how when they made the creatures, they made the robot guys, they made them so that they could, like... You could build them. If you had those parts, you could totally build them. Like
that's great.
They didn't cheat at all.
That's great. I love that about that. Maybe they'll actually sell those. Who knows?
Yeah, I don't know. It looks like they did a lot of work on this. And yeah, I'm excited to give it a try, even though I'm both like medium on Horizon and also Lego games, but I don't know.
Lego games haven't been that great for a while, apparently.
Well, for me, it's Lego games are like the Dynasty Warriors games where it's like, are you interested in this franchise? And I'm like, not really.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
But yeah, there's a whole little 5-minute mini doc where they talk about it. Everything about it looks pretty fun. They talk a lot about how apparently the development team gets a real big kick out of the idea that you could put on the silly outfits and then they're there during the cutscenes. So then like they'll have a cutscene of something that happens in Horizon Zero Dawn, but a guy's wearing a fucking banana costume.
I do appreciate that.
So, and it looks like they're tapping into a lot of the actual named Lego parts as opposed to just like a specifically Horizon one. So, yeah.
This I'm sure it'll be a great time for people who love Lego games.
I also am really interested to see how it looks because it looks, again, I've been waiting for a long time for them to make a Lego game where they use the simple Legos, but then it has like really good lighting so that they have that kind of tilt shift Lego movie effect. And this looks like that. Like this looks like it has that level of fidelity. So
it does separate it from the others quite a bit.
Yeah, it looks a lot more like detailed. So yeah.
Good luck to you, game.
Speaking of dressing up in funky costumes, Michael, I pulled this just for you. I don't know if you saw this. Destiny 2 is doing the thing where they're doing some Street Fighter crossovers.
Oh, I heard about this. And it was I laughed so hard when I found out about this.
Yeah, one is they've got a Ryu, Chun-Li, and Cammy outfits for your little ghosts, which seems really silly.
Like they give the Ryu arms, and it just looks so weird.
Yep. Not just that, but then also they've got like a helmet, a Blanca helmet.
Oh my god,
that's like a cyber helmet that looks like Blanca's head, and then they're like showing it off wearing it with like green armor, basically.
Well,
so
he did like a shock thing that shocked somebody.
Yeah, well, they also have these emotes.
Okay.
They also have like emotes for that. They've got like a Hadouken.
Oh, and they actually hit things.
Yeah, they're like finishing moves that you can do. With various things.
That's kind of fun.
In Destiny. Lightning kick. Yeah.
That's fucking crazy.
I'm sure. You're not going to get me to play Destiny with
I'm never going to do it, but I think it's interesting you can.
Yeah. It's kind of crazy. Yeah.
Oh, and you can do like a fake fight too. That's fucking weird.
Speaking of Capcom stuff, we got the announcement trailer for Monster Hunter Outlanders. This is a phone game.
It sounded like one based on the title.
Yep. This is a free-to-play phone game that's going to be a open world Monster Hunter game that you can play on phones, and I'm sure there's going to be a bunch of pay-to-win bullshit because Capcom.
Yeah, like potions and shit.
It doesn't. It runs like at a fairly low frame rate, and it made me wonder why if phones can't run like something that looks like the new Monster Hunter at a good frame rate, why they don't just make stuff that looks like the older Monster Hunter games for phones.
Yeah, I'm surprised. This is the ad, and it runs like ass.
Yeah.
But it looks really good.
It looks fine. I don't know, but then they have the whole thing on like a virtual phone screen, and it's got a kind of a low frame rate.
Like I appreciate Capcom being like, look, we're not going to pretend this thing runs really well.
Yeah.
So either you're into that or you're not, guys. Good luck with that.
Yeah.
So good for them, I guess.
I don't know. That's coming out soon. I don't know. I looked at it and I was like, oh, okay. I guess that Monster Hunter,
the Monster Hunter Go or whatever.
Whatever it was,
what it's called.
Didn't work out as well as he wanted. Speaking of real stupid shit, Like a Dragon Pirate, the one with Goro Majima, announced that they have a Kiryu Kazama suit that Goro Majima can wear, the gray and red suit in his game, and I'm like, he doesn't look right in that suit. That suit does not look right.
But it also makes it funnier.
Yeah.
Because it seems like the kind of thing he would do.
Yeah. I don't know. Like the logo for this game literally has him in a pirate outfit going like, "Wah!" And I look at this and I'm just like, no.
I still can't believe this game's real.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's see. From there, speaking of dressing up, we got the release date for Infinity Nikki.
Almost forgot that was happening.
Yeah, I don't know if you remember this one. The crazy. It's like a cozy adventure.
Didn't we find it was like a franchise or something?
Yes, it is a franchise. There's a whole bunch of other ones. This is the latest one. It's very weird because the first trailer was just like, dress up in any outfit that you want. And slowly we've seen that, like, it seems like the different outfits have different abilities. So there's one that you can like kind of like float or fly with. And there's like other ones that you can use to get different places. You could turn from Nikki into this little cat to get into small spaces. I don't know. It looks nice. Looks nice enough.
It looks fine. Like, it's just interesting because there's so much going on in it.
Yeah.
And I think it's interesting that like we're only now getting these types of things.
Yeah.
I think it's a good idea though, because there's plenty of people who probably would love this type of game.
I agree. Even though I don't know, probably not me. But
it's gonna sound weird, but I can see Matt doing it.
Sure. Nothing wrong with a cozy game. A lot of people like relaxing, like kind of fun, twee, games. I want to bash my head up against a ninja until his head explodes into a blood fountain. So, but yeah. And then we got a release date, December 5th.
Oh, it's pretty soon.
Coming all the way out.
I keep forgetting we're like in the middle of fucking November already.
Yeah.
Like I blinked. I was like, oh shit.
Yeah. Like Thanksgiving is in a week and a half.
Yeah, it's real soon.
Or something.
Real soon.
Let's see. We also got the release date for Symphonia. This is I stumbled across this. I hadn't seen it before. This is like a kind of Celeste style like action platformer. Like they specifically call out in the marketing materials for it that it's like non-violent, and you play as like this weird abstract kind of musician with like a violin, and it looks like you're mostly doing kind of like little platforming challenges, but it's very pretty.
No, it's very pretty.
It's got a very kind of nice art style to it, and the character has little, what do they call those little like music lines that come out behind them, like the lines on a piece of music paper.
Yeah, I wish I knew. I forgot the name of it. I used to, but it's been a very long time.
And there's like obviously some little places where you're going to be using like violin to do stuff, and you're kind of going across a bunch of different musical landscapes.
Hopefully the soundtrack keeps up with it.
Yeah. It was very good. You're not hearing it, but it was very good when I was listening to it. And that's also coming December 5th. So, yep. Let's see. We got an update for a launch trailer for the update of the Dawn of Equinox version of Sea of Stars.
Oh, this is the co-op version, right?
Well, the co-op version's been out for a little while, but you can now do up to 3-player co-op. This adds a lot to the game. Like they overhauled the combat system to make it a little bit more complicated. They changed up some of the original parts. They put in some new like kind of superstar like team attack moves. One of the other things that I saw from this I don't know if it was in this trailer, it might have been another one. They redid the opening.
Oh, wow.
So you remember how I said that like the game is slow in the very beginning, but once it picks up, it's like a blast?
Yeah.
Apparently they redid the prologue so that it doesn't take as long, so that you can get through, or that it's more like it has more action to it, which is great because that was the part of the game that, didn't work as well.
Oh, and a new cinematic.
Yeah, they added a little animated cinematic. There's like, so there's these little weaknesses that they have that are obscured to make the combat less simple to go through.
That's fun.
Yeah, co-op, new difficulty levels.
They added a lot. I should.
Yeah, they added a shit ton to this, and I'm really glad because if y'all haven't played Sea of Stars, it was like a really good game. It was an excellent game. So
I'm happy for them. Yeah. I love that one of the ones was high five animations.
Yes,
you can high five your bros.
Yep, that's probably what was happening before, where they were doing the little little stars by.
That's pretty fun.
Let's see. Another strange games that only Jeff likes. I Am Future is getting it's 1.0 release on November 13th. I played this with Amanda a little while back. This is like a kind of crafting game where you've seen the opening cinematic for this, where you're in cryostasis on top of a building.
Oh yeah,
it's the apocalypse, and then a seagull accidentally steps on a button and it wakes you up.
I forgot about that.
And so you're on top of a building, and like all of your survival depends on you living on top of this building with the stuff that's there. So yeah, but there's a bunch of new expansions for that, new characters, new quests, upgrades to stuff that wasn't there before. They had a whole 5-minute presentation on what all is coming in 1.0. One of the things I did appreciate is that they said, yes, 1.0 is coming out, and we're not stopping there. We're going to keep adding even more features to it after that. So
that's good. I'm happy that they're willing to do that.
It was very fun. I ended up playing a little bit of it, but it was one of those games where I was like, it's in early access, and I don't want to spend a lot of time with this and then run up against the early access wall. So
that, or you're gonna find out they added a bunch of shit that makes it easier, kind of thing.
Right.
And you're like, but I already built all the things.
Yep. So yep. November 13th. By the time you hear this, it'll already be out. Let's see. Speaking of cozy style games, a lot of cozy games this week. We got a release date on the PlayStation for Botany Manor. Botany Manor was Xbox Game Pass, I believe, and also on the PC. This is a game where you play as a woman who goes to your aunt's house, and she was this botanist, and you basically have to wander around and figure out how to make certain seeds grow in certain places in order to open up new areas and find out this whole story. I played it all the way through. It's 2.5 hours long. It's really good.
Oh, that's neat.
And it's coming onto the PlayStation on December 17th. And I highly recommend that everybody go play it, especially if you're like me and you want 2-hour video games.
Yeah. I'm always glad when one of those pops up and they're good.
Yep. What? I don't want to see the weigh-in for Jake Paul and Mike Tyson.
Yeah, that fight's tomorrow from when we're recording this.
Oh, yeah. By the time you guys hear this, it's already out. Can you believe that Mike Tyson just ate Jake Paul? Ate bones and all?
Yeah, after uppercutting his head off. That was crazy. Absolutely nuts.
He just unhinged his jaw and ate the entire man. I couldn't believe I was seeing this. I couldn't believe they didn't stop the fight. It was crazy.
I know. Apparently, it was illegal. It's legal now.
Yeah.
It's a legal move.
Jake Paul signed a waiver. Yeah. And, Mike Tyson's got a good lawyer, so...
He knew what he was getting into.
I got to be honest, Michael, I have Netflix, and I kind of want to watch that because I really just want it to be like the Great White Hype. Do you remember that movie?
Oh, yeah.
Where, was it Damon Wayans was the boxer?
Yeah.
And he just spends 6 weeks getting fat, and then they get this new guy to come in, and Samuel L. Jackson plays Don King. He hypes him up, and then he just fucking annihilates him right away. I want to see Jake Paul get his head punched off by Mike Tyson. I kind of want to see
Mike Tyson
that
to annihilate him.
Yeah. So, we got the official launch trailer as well as the official launch for The Rise of the Golden Idol. I'm so happy about this. Amanda and I played through 3 parts of this, and we're going to try, unless there's a big backlash, to play through the whole thing on Patreon.
Oh, okay.
So that means I had to stop playing it, even though I desperately want to play the entire game.
That's all Jeff wants to do. That's all he talks about, guys.
I really do.
That's all he talks about.
I really do. I also want to play through the Lake House, but we're playing that as a sequential too. God damn it. Why do I keep doing this to myself?
So you did when you first decided to do Alan Wake 2.
Yeah.
And I get it.
Rise of the Golden Idol so far seems like it's been exactly what we wanted. More Golden Idol, more interesting little cases and stuff that you got to figure out. The first one's great. You should go play it. This actually also launched on consoles. It was on Switch and the PlayStation as well.
I did not know that.
So you can play it on there. And they've revamped the way the UI works so that it's easier to deal with. So
nice.
Go check it out. Let's see. Warhammer 40K Darktide. Also, this is a common story this week. Got a PS5 release date.
I feel like this came out like a decade ago.
It was like 2 years ago.
Yeah, which might as well have been a decade ago. The time is working now.
Yeah. It was on Xbox and it was on PC, but it was not on the PlayStation.
It was very popular at the time, although people kept running into issues with it. I remember when it first came out.
I think they've managed to kind of straighten a lot of that out.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is basically Warhammer 40K Left 4 Dead, where you play as like a team of 4 that's going down and you're fighting like weirdos and monsters and stuff. It's got like a whole upgrade tree. It looks good. It sounds good. If you're into that kind of stuff and you want to play online, it seems like it's a good game for that. It's also made by Fat Shark that made
I don't remember. I remember that logo,
Killing
but I don't
Floor,
remember them very
maybe?
well. That sounds right, but I
think it was
don't
Killing
know
Floor.
enough about it to say yes or no.
Yeah. So yeah, that's coming out December 3rd for the PlayStation. For PlayStation. Let's see. What else we got here? We got a gameplay trailer for Stalker 2, which is coming out, as I said, right around the corner.
Do you like Stalker? Then you play Stalker 2, because that's the thing we realized as we watch more trailers for this.
Yeah, they went into a lot. They basically, this is kind of like a little mini walkthrough where they talk about the way that the world works, and it seems like they've smoothed over a little bit of it, but that it's still just as demanding as Stalker 1, all 3 of the previous Stalker games.
Yeah,
so.
we did that ever come out, the ones that we did?
Yeah.
And we were just like, we don't know what the fuck's going on.
Oh, yeah, it was a fucking catastrophe. It was a mess.
It was bad. It was brutal.
They put them on Game Pass, and I was like, oh, I don't know what the fuck I'm doing.
It was nuts.
It was that third one where we went into like that underground hole and lost all of our health and all of our ammo and had nothing to show for it.
Yeah, we lost everything.
What have I done?
It was really bad, but like in a good way.
I do like the fact that they've got we've got like this very just like on the fly attachment system where you can just put stuff right on whatever gun you're using. Like towards the end, they show a kind of an interesting one where they show the main character with like a sniper rifle, and then they attach like a shotgun like to the bottom of the sniper rifle in case like people get up close. I don't know. It looks really nice. Like
it looks great.
The fidelity on there is really nice looking. It'll be interesting though to see if it's playable. if I can finally get into a Stalker game.
It's true.
Yeah. So
here's hoping for the best.
Yep. November 20th. So yeah, that is Wednesday of next week.
Yeah, very soon.
Let's see. We had N7 Day, and that meant that No Man's Sky brought back the Normandy that you could get in No Man's Sky. Remember they did that a few years back?
Yeah, people were really excited. I had a friend that was like, oh, I'm jumping right away so you can go get that shit.
Yeah. I'm still unclear about whether you can actually fly it or if
I don't know
like
either.
just
I think it's just there.
fleet ship. Because in this trailer, all they show is the characters like flying by it in other ships. I'm also not entirely sure how long it's going to last. So
I don't know either, yeah.
I think it's just a fleet ship, to be honest. But
I think it says it's a frigate.
Yeah, so it's
Makes
just
sense.
like a non-playable ship that you can have in your fleet. You can have the Normandy there.
Yeah, there's a few N7 stuff. I found out that Dragon Age got a Mass Effect update too.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, because I was watching my girlfriend play, and I'm like, where'd you get that outfit? And then I realized that it had the big red stripe on one sleeve, and I was like, oh, that's an N7 outfit. And I looked it up, and sure enough, it was an N7 outfit.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's No Man's Sky. Normandy. Let's see. Okay, so you remember how I had that story about how they brought back OG Fortnite?
Yeah.
Oh, I had one other story that we didn't get to in the last thing, and I thought I would just put it in here instead. So this is speaking about updates to video games.
Oh my god.
The First Descendant. You remember that pile of crap that we didn't like?
Yeah.
Apparently, the decision has been made to add jiggle physics to the First Descendant because that's what the game was missing was jiggle physics for all of the
I'm reading this thing. After a lengthy discussion with the AD today, a decision is made to add the much requested jiggle physics, and I love that jiggle physics is in bold.
Yep, in quotes.
Oh my god. That's
this was
so fucking
decided only
funny.
a short while ago, so the details of when and how it will be implemented in the game are yet to be finalized. I hope this will be a pleasant surprise for our dear successors who have been waiting for it.
Oh my god.
This game is all like, they showed also this thing where apparently this is a skin. Let me see if it was in this article. There was a skin. Yeah, so there's a skin for this game called the Twisted Worship. And this skin is like, okay, it's like a lady.
Oh, I heard about this one.
With like her top has clothing and stuff on it, but she's wearing like a one-piece bathing suit, and she doesn't have any pants on, and then she's got like thigh-high boots on, so like the tops of her thighs are sticking out.
Yeah.
And apparently this costume had a tail on it, it had like a tail that was just on the back of it. And one of the big updates is that for this version they took the tail off, so you can look right at the ass of the person you're controlling.
Oh my god.
In this video game.
Oh my goodness.
Yep.
You sick fucks. But it's much requested, as they said.
Hey, if they're all going to be over there playing that, and then we could just have other people give us video games, that's fine.
Look, if it makes them money, they'll do whatever you want.
Yep. Speaking of making money, From Software, or Katakawa, has been making so much money, it's From Software's parent company, that they have 20 console games spread across FromSoft, Spike Chunsoft, Gotcha Games, and Acquire, all in development, as well as 6 mobile titles.
Oh wow,
they've really like ramped up production on stuff.
That's crazy.
So yeah, which is great. Even though I really desperately am like, apparently operating profits for them jumped by 50% with the release of the Shadow of the Erdtree expansion for Elden Ring. So
that's crazy.
Yeah, like they have a lot of money, and I'm just like, more than one FromSoft development team, please. I'm tired of waiting. Well, even though I say that, even though last year I got Armored Core, and this year I got Shadow of the Erdtree, and the year before that I didn't get anything, but the year before that was when Elden Ring came out.
Oh yeah.
So 2024, 2023. 2020 was when Elden Ring came out, wasn't it?
No, that was when
2019.
Wait, when did this come out in 2020?
Anyway.
Wait, when did Horizon 2 come out?
That's the metric?
That's how you find out very easily.
Here, I need to remember. Let's just type this in. Was it 2019? Is it 2022?
2022.
Okay, so yeah. Elden Ring was 2022. Armored Core is 2023. Shadow of the Erdtree is 2024. I want that Armored Core 6.2 so bad, because they've done it with all the rest of them, and I know that game sold well enough, and I know their operating expenses are high. I know they'll let Miyazaki do whatever he wants, and I know he wants to make me more Beck games. Come on, buddy.
That would be great.
Do it.
I'm waiting for Metal Wolf Chaos 2.
I'll take a Metal Wolf Chaos skin in Armored Core 6.2.
I'd be cool with that.
The director of Dragon's Dogma, also in studio news, has been moved over to there's this Japanese development studio called Lightspeed Studios. They made the PUBG mobile game, as as one other. Oh, that Will Smith zombie game.
Oh, Jesus,
thing.
That fucking thing.
Yeah. But he's moved over there to head up a new arm that is basically just to make like console action video games.
Okay.
Which, if they're going to let him alone and do whatever the fuck he wants to, I say hooray, because Dragon's Dogma 2 was an amazingly interesting mess.
True.
I played it all the way to the end. That game has some third act reveals that are fucking crazy.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Let me just say, there's a reason why when you're playing the game and you start the game, the title card comes up and says Dragon's Dogma. Full stop.
Oh, it doesn't even say 2 on it?
No.
That's fascinating. That's fucking really weird.
Yeah, there's some shit going on in there. I really don't like the fact that they gave people a big heads up about whether their pawns have that dragon sickness.
Oh, the sickness thing.
I want it, because, if you're not paying attention and your pawns just start sassing you, you could go to sleep and wake up and the entire town that you were in is dead. Like, just every single NPC, quest lines cannot be continued. The inns cannot be used.
Yeah.
The stores cannot be used. Everything in the town that you're in is just fucking destroyed. And I'm like, it takes balls to kick a player in the nuts like that.
It really does, yeah. Holy shit. That's fucking crazy.
Yep. All right. Speaking of dragons, Spyro is on Game Pass now. The Spyro Remastered or Reignited, whatever they called it. Spyro Reignited
trilogy.
Yeah, from 2018. That game was hella fun, and I just wanted to say that it's on Game Pass, and if you didn't play it, you should play it because it's hella fun.
It's the original 3 remastered.
Yep. And remastered very well.
Yes.
Like the characters are just very expressive and cool looking. Michael, for you, did you hear about this Halo thing?
I did not.
Okay, so E3 2003 Halo 2 stage demo was a level like in the city. It was like a city level.
Oh, that was supposed to be the original final level.
Yeah. Modders have spent the last few years recreating that demo in the Master Chief Collection.
Oh wow!
As a Steam mod, so you can now play it, and it's like apparently one of the things in there was they had the was it the DMR that's like a three round burst?
Yeah.
But in that demo, it was a single shot weapon. Yeah. And so they've modded it so that if you play that demo, it's a single shot weapon.
That's fucking awesome.
They've also got like checkpoints in various places to have you go through the demo the way the guy on stage went through the demo. And they've meticulously just put this whole thing back together and modded it so that you can play it.
I love that. Yeah. For people who don't know, when Halo 2 was announced and a lot of that stuff was shown, it was very much promised that there's like, well, the war's coming to Earth kind of thing.
Yep.
So they showed off this like really intricate city sequence, and then they lost time and they couldn't finish the final, what was supposed to be the final level, which was Master Chief landing finally on Earth, and then it would have got into Halo 3.
Yeah.
So Halo 3 starts from there instead. Which angered a lot of people, including myself, because none of us knew that at the time.
Yep.
It ended on a giant cliffhanger, and 2, the last level wasn't even a Master Chief level.
Yep.
It was crazy.
The only catch with this is that you cannot play it even on the PC through Game Pass because you have to have it on Steam because it's a Steam Workshop. So you can't play it on consoles. You can't play it there. But still, I love psycho sick shit like this.
Oh, it's the best.
Where people are like, I'm putting together this E3 demo that wasn't even a thing in the game. So.
I'm going to do it myself with blackjack and hookers.
Let's see. We have, speaking of mods, somebody got Doom running on Nintendo's Alarmo because of course they did.
That was so fast again.
Of course they did.
I love you guys for doing stupid shit like that every time.
The nice thing about it, though, Michael, is they didn't just get it running. They got it running so that you can use the spinny top to turn and push it down, and you can use the buttons to control it.
Oh, my God.
So it's not just running. It's actually like...
So you actually can play it. Doom, like haphazardly, but you can still play Doom on it.
Not well, but you can do it, yes. So
that's amazing. That's so fucking stupid, but amazing.
I also should call out, who is this? This is... who did this? Gary Oder Nix. Yeah. Anyway.
Oh my God.
Yep. Kind of crazy.
If it's a computer in any way, it'll run Doom.
It'll run Doom.
Oh my God.
Did on a pregnancy test.
Yeah. Love them. I love them so much.
There's another guy, speaking of mods, that was making it was like, this is a guy that was working on like a Bloodborne remaster and then stopped because they were like, it's too big and it's just a matter of time before, if I show any updates before I get a cease and desist on this.
Yeah.
So they actually decided to do something kind of crazy, and they made a little demo using some of the assets of Diablo as Bloodborne as like a top-down action game.
Oh.
Kind of in the Diablo isometric style, and it looks pretty good. Like it holds up that well. No idea whether this is something they're going to keep working on or whether this is just kind of like a proof of concept. But like, if they already made those assets for the opening levels, they just kind of tilted it and then changed it around a little bit and got it working.
That's so much fun. I love when people do shit like that.
Yep.
Again, the internet, I love you guys. Don't ever change.
We also got a thing. This is I like this, but it's hard to look at these. This is a modder online who basically called Fanica98, who basically used a bunch of mods to zoom Elden Ring like way out until it was like at the angle of like a Baldur's Gate, like looking down isometric.
That's interesting.
And took a bunch of screenshots of the game. Like, here's a turtle pope, like in this way. It's like makes me think of the idea of like playing it as a like as a turn-based RPG is kind of an interesting idea.
That would be kind of fun, actually.
And because this one is because Elden Ring is open world, like it works better than it did with like some of the Souls stuff where you had to like out of bounds.
Yeah, like this was just work in general.
Yeah. And so there's a whole album of this stuff online, but it's on this site called Imagebox, and it runs like fucking garbage.
Yeah,
like it takes forever
There's
to
a lot of
load
ads on it, kind of thing.
a picture. Yeah, so even though they're very nice shots.
Yeah, it's free though, so I assume that's why they did it.
Yeah. And last but not least, it's been a long time since a food company did anything stupid. Michael, did you see the pizza warmer?
What the fuck is that?
Pizza Hut apparently put out plans for a 3D printable plastic box that you can put on top of your game console. Specifically here, it's a PS5 that has a funnel that literally funnels the exhaust from your console into a box where you could put your pizza to keep it warm while you're playing video games. Seems like a terrible idea, like that fucking fried chicken computer.
Oh, absolutely.
And also, it's Pizza Hut pizza. And that's like the worst one now. So
yeah, but the thing is that like it doesn't say you can only it doesn't say it only works with Pizza Hut pizza.
Yeah.
So
also, I'm not putting that much.
Worth a shot.
I'm not putting a bunch of food anywhere close to my console.
No, it's a terrible idea. Don't get me wrong. It's a terrible fucking idea.
Yeah.
But I love the. I love the idea.
Like this is an unlisted YouTube video from Pizza Hut Canada's YouTube channel. What is happening?
I hope people try it is all I have to say.
Yeah. And that's the show. And we managed to only go 2 minutes over time. So
that's pretty impressive for us.
Michael, why don't you tell the fine folks at home where they can find you when you're not over here helping me to do the podcast?
Sometimes you can find me on oneofus.net. They do a lot of movie television reviews. I haven't done one in a very long time, to be honest. But there's plenty of reviews on there that you can listen to.
Cool. And patreon.com/RageSelect. You remember when we talked about the Golden Idol? You might want to go watch that Golden Idol. You might want to watch Lake House. Or you might just want to support RageSelect because it takes time for me to get all these news stories. And did you notice how smooth they all were this week? Oh, I had the transitions. I had everything. I had to move them around 4 times to figure out how to segue. I'm the master of segues. I drive a Segway to work, which is
like Job.
This website. I don't know. I'm tired.
It's the final countdown, guys.
Yeah. Bye. Get out of here. Bye. Bye.